On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick look forward to 2021 in all of the not official Star Wars topics to talk about. Fear not, though, there may not be much going on, but the duo has some Star Wars to discuss, including the return of Lucasfilm Games, and the latest issue of the proper Star Wars comic, and the new High Republic comic book runs. They'll also delve into the rumor and leaking mills as some information has been leaked about Kevin Feige's Star Wars project, as well as some possible updates on the Rebels sequel and the Ahsoka series. Of course, they'll end with the fan segment to feature responses to the question of the week, as well as to honor this week's top 5 Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie. Hey, now everybody, we were caught off guard. We're sitting here talking about Indiana Jones, and lo and behold, it's time for Star Wars time. That is right. We are back. And yes, I am trying to look as creepy as possible. So if you're on the live stream, yes, this is Matt, and I am whipping a thick mustache. Straight up, look, you can see the 5 o'clock action going on the chin, but then I got like the dirty Super Mario mustache.
You got to get the twist going.
It's not long enough. I mean, I should have done that in the days when, I had my 4-inch long beard, but yeah, I just, I'm going for the Chester the Molester look on my final week of vacation, and potentially for a new passport photo, because we all know people with mustaches are sane, right?
Yeah. they're immediately going to be like, you're on a no-fly list. I don't even need to look.
They're like, I'm pretty sure I saw you at the Capitol riots, pal.
Yeah,
in your
like,
QAnon shirt.
Slip one past me.
Weren't you the guy wearing the fucking horns on your head in the Senate?
Yeah.
No, I've never really understood mustaches. You know what I mean?
My dad's whipped one since I was born.
Yeah, so
and he still does.
He would probably look odd to you if he shaved it, right?
Oh yeah, if he lost the mustache, I'd be like, "What the? Who are you?" I probably wouldn't even recognize my own father if he didn't have it. But it's one of those things where like I feel like you have to have the right type of face for it.
Yeah, like a dumb face. And I'm not making fun of your dad. This is myself, because at first my wife is like, "What's wrong with you? Like I have to look at you. Please don't do this." But after a while, she's like, "You know what? They are creepy, but you kind of can pull it off." So
I feel like it's hard. That was like a thing in like, the early 80s, late 70s.
Yeah, 70s, 80s. Yeah, because if I go get my crown on, I kind of channel a slightly chubbier version of Freddie Mercury. You know what I mean?
There you go. Okay.
And I did have a crown, because really these past 2 weeks, last week and this week, Matty Boy has become caretaker number 1, hanging out with the little girl. We've been painting toenails, mine included, wearing crowns, doing all sorts of crazy shit. I mean, stuff is getting squirrely over here on my 4th week off. And again, I'm not bitching about having all the time off. I know there's people out there enforce time off. But I will say, when you have 4 weeks off in a row and your partner, my wife, works, and you have a 4.5-year-old that you can't just say, "Hey, stare at a wall and leave me alone."
Yeah, entertain yourself.
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a feeling 10 years from now, I'll be weeping about these days when I had dedicated time with my little girl and she actually wanted to hang out with her mustache-wearing creepy dad. But like last week, I'm like, damn, I want to go play Cyberpunk. Or will I ever do another toy photography shoot? I'm 3 weeks have gone now and I haven't done shit with the toys. Is the hobby dead? So, but I always have to keep reminding myself, you are a father. Your life no longer matters. You got to make sure the little one is having fun. Your own enjoyment, it has been discounted in full at this point.
Secondary. It's secondary. Right. Actually, it's probably tertiary behind the life of your wife.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you might as well put me down. What's the word? Fortiary. Yeah, because of the fucking cats. Because I am their sole caretaker and leader. Like, I mean, I'm sure I don't know how it is in your house with all your pets, but are you like the pet god? Do they all kind of come to you and pay homage and worship you and want everything?
So I'm the treat giver.
Yeah, you're definitely like you're at least a Jesus figure in their eyes.
Yeah, dude, this is how my mornings go. I mean, mornings I use that loosely because I can kind of wake up whenever I want to.
Yeah, you're like Charlie right now. My little girl somehow has already become a teenager / college kid. Because I was telling Nick, I was like, dude, I think we could start the show at like 11 a.m. East today because my kid is still fucking sleeping.
Hey man, you can't ask for more than that. If you're looking for a little time off from the kid, that's perfect. But like I wake up and Taylor wakes up before me because she starts work at 9. So she takes the pup out on a walk, and then as soon as they get back, this started like 4 weeks ago or something like that. The dog jumps right in bed with me and just sleeps with
He's
me
like,
until
get up,
I wake up.
Lazy ass.
Yeah. So when I get up, I have all 3 of the animals. I have the dog and the 2 cats following me downstairs because they know as soon as Dad gets up, they all get treats.
It's time.
And they all get, their little pets and scritches and stuff like that. So I'm basically like followed by a flock as soon as I come down.
So you're like me. You're the shepherd of the pets. At night, if they don't get locked into someone's room, they always come and flock to me to pay their respects. Lay on me, scratch me, tear up the couch, like Nick and I were talking about.
Yeah,
I do love little furry friends. They're great. I love cats. Hey, look, Cryo's back in the live chat. That's been a while. Hey, now.
Welcome back.
Yeah, live chat's kind of quiet. We got our boy Big Amish is in there and Cryo. I don't know. Maybe everyone else is being a little timid today, or maybe they just realized that they have better things to do in 2021 than listening to our 2 dumbasses on a Tuesday afternoon. I could see people putting that in their New Year's resolutions, right? I will stop wasting my Tuesdays with the SWTS bros.
Yeah.
It's all good, but before we get into our topics, dude, we got a few little things to talk about. In particular, fans of the show, I want you all to be impressed because I did something I never thought I would do again, and that is I grabbed a Star Wars book. I actually purchased it for free, thanks to a tip from my boy Nick here. He's like, dude, Audible, Amazon owns it, you're Prime. I guarantee you have at least 1 or 2 free books. He's like, you should at least just check it out, you lazy ass. I was like, all right, whatever. And of course I didn't check it out. But come Sunday, I do like old man walks now, Nick. This is something, I don't know, maybe just happens when you turn 40, but instead of working out 5 days a week now, I decided I have to take old man walks on Saturday and Sunday, it's nice. It's like 2.5 miles. I get about 30 to 40 minutes, just peace. I put my headphones in. I'm usually listening to Stern. It's a nice time for me to just kind of get away and go on a spirit walk, if you will.
Yeah, so, Vision Quest.
Yeah, so Sunday comes along. I'm all excited. I got new Stern to listen to. I'm walking my little chubby ass, like my 2-mile-an-hour pace. I'm like, oh, and then the shit just stops playing. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look at my phone, and it's just spinning on the Sirius app, spinning. I'm like, come on. 2 days a week, I just want to listen to Stern without feeling like I'm going to poison my little kid's brain with bad words, even though I say way worse shit than Howard does these days on a daily basis. I just wanted to listen to Stern on my walk. And of course, being a troubleshooter, a tech guy that I am, I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna see if it's my phone or if it's Sirius XM. So I'm loading up other apps on my walk. Oh, they connect. I can listen to the Star Wars time show right now, but I can't listen to Sirius XM. So I eventually was like, you know what, fuck it. I emailed my buddy at Sirius, Stern's IT guys, like, hey Ben, fix the fucking app. All right. And when I realized that wasn't going to happen because he gave me a ticket number, I said, you know what? My buddy Nick, he said I might be able to get one of these High Republic books for free. In audio format, so no real words and shit have to be consumed and processed by my eyes. And lo and behold, on my walk, I'm still out there. I'm huffing and puffing, getting a little frustrated. I pull up Amazon, I search for Light of the Jedi, and sure enough, it shows up, and it's like $19.99. I'm like, fuck you, Nick. But then I change it to audiobook, and it goes, oh, ding, 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 ding. You've never cashed in on one of your free Audible purchases by being an Amazon sheep. And I'm like, sweet. He wasn't full of shit. Queued it, downloaded it, and fired up the first chapter of the book. And I have to say, Nick, if all audiobooks are done in the style of Star Wars, was it Light of the Jedi or something like that?
Light of the Jedi, indeed. Yep.
I may have to start listening to more of these things because it's a full-on production. I mean, they've got a soundtrack. They've got sound effects. The dude reading it like actually changes his voice for different characters, and he's way better than I am when I do the announcer. Like, on this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, like he's actually like, oh hey, I'm a girl. Oh hey, I'm a guy. I mean, it's kind of neat. But I have to say, and you kind of filled me in that I just need to get through the first chapter. But I'm listening to the first chapter going, this could be the most dull and boring shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. I'm getting a point of view of a random ship captain here, and she's just going on and on about how she used to be in the Navy and how now she runs her ships, which are just cargo transports like they're Navy ships, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going, okay, what the hell is this shit?
I will say, so this is what I told Matt before we went live. So we actually got either the full first chapter or a snippet of the first chapter earlier in 2020. And we went over it on the cast. So essentially the first chapter is just setting up how this great disaster happens. If you've been listening to the show, if you've been following the High Republic releases through 2020, we know that it's all kicked off by some sort of great disaster. So chapter 1 sets up how that happens, and then chapters basically 2, 3, 4, 2 and 3 for sure will basically show you, once the disaster happens, what other people around this system, the Hetzel system, are seeing and how it's going to play out. And then by chapter 5, chapter 6, then you get the Jedi coming in to save the day.
Okay. Do you have a chronology on all this shit, dude? Because we're going to go into the comic here. That's one of our topics, by the way. So there's your tease for those that like the comic breakdowns. But I'm reading this comic and I'm going,
where does this happen?
I feel like I probably missed some shit by not reading the book first. Because it's like they got, at least in the comic, and again, we'll do a full breakdown, but in the comic, Starlight Beacon is already launched and kind of doing its thing. Is that the case in Light of the Jedi or no?
So Light of the Jedi, Starlight Beacon is, I mean, as far as I've gotten, I haven't finished it yet. I'm only 7 chapters in. Starlight Beacon is being launched, but it hasn't been fully deployed yet. From what I can remember, as far as I've gotten.
So I'm guessing the comic is definitely after.
It's probably a little bit after because the Light of the Jedi is 1. It's literally step 1.
Right.
Everything that happens in High Republic happens after Light of the Jedi.
Yeah, so I did fuck it up, but I mean, come on, give me a break. Looking at images with little bits of words and shit is way easier and way quicker to get through than even listening to a book. But exactly. I figured it because there's a lot of stuff in the comic which I actually quite enjoyed. I like the characters they kind of use as the POV. But like one of the masters is missing an arm, and apparently it happened in some battle, and they introduce Maru, Vader, Yoda, Chris, all like, oh yeah, you're supposed to know all these people, and I'm like, nah, I really
because in Light, so as far as I've gotten, you've only been introduced to 3 Jedi. You've been introduced to Avar Kriss, who is a master.
Yeah, she seems to be one of the main. She's not on the council, but is a master. She's kind of like a Qui-Gon.
Yeah, and then you have Loden Greatstorm.
Haven't hit him in the comic.
Yeah, so you get introduced to him in the book very early on, and then his apprentice, Bell Estafar or something like that. Right. And that is the 3 that are basically the first to respond to the great disaster that's happening in the book.
Yeah, because I've met Master Maru, who seems to be more of like the mystical type. And then, like I said, the 2 Grandmasters. And I was surprised to learn that Yoda is a Grandmaster at this point.
So he's still a Grandmaster. Yeah. I wonder when he first got Grandmaster. That's the thing with Yoda, man, is like they can do High Republic. And then if they say like, oh, well, we want to go back even further, they go back 200 more years. Yoda's still on the fucking council.
Right. He's a fucking Grandmaster. Like, I mean, it's him and this Veter guy or Veter. I don't know how they actually say his name, but they kind of roll in. And don't get me wrong, a 700-year-old Yoda, he's a pimp. I mean, he's got a little gold on his lightsaber. He's got a little pep in his step, like I said in my breakdown, which all of you should check out on the Star Wars Time Show YouTube channel. So yeah, we'll get into the High Republic stuff, but I did want to let everyone know, because I've kind of cast myself as a moron on this show, which is mostly true. But I did plunk down and got Light of the Jedi in audiobook format because A, it was free, and B, the fucking Stern Show would not work for me on my walk. So that's honestly why I ended up getting the book, man. Yeah,
I will say that there's one other definitive thing that was confirmed by the book itself. The physical book tells you that book 2, the follow-up to Light of the Jedi, direct follow-up, is The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott that comes out on June 29th of this year. So there is like a chronology within these books, and it's not just, the Sule book and then the next Sule book. It is, for as far as we know so far, Charles Sule, Light of the Jedi, book 2, The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. So,
I was just going to say, according to the Audible version or the audio version of the book, they call him Charles Soule.
I was going to say, like, after I looked at his name for a little while on that, I was like, I think we may be saying his name wrong. It could just be Soul.
Of course we have been. I was like, who the fuck are we? Like, we're adding like some French to it, like Grey
we're adding like accent marks.
Soule. Charles Soule is like, who the fuck are we?
Yeah. Soul makes more sense, honestly.
And he, I mean, honestly, dude, his stamp is all over written Star Wars at this point. Because I mean, he leads. I think he leads on the Vader comic run.
Yep.
He's doing all this High Republic stuff. I mean, he really is kind of the guy.
He's like almost. I don't know if there is a head writer, if that's like a title for Lucasfilm Publishing, but he seems like he's the head writer.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know. I mean, do these people technically work for Lucasfilm, or are they like 1099ers? You think where
I think they work for him. I think that they. At least some of them. I don't know if like you're individual, like if you're a one-off novelist or something like that, if you are employed by Lucasfilm, but I think somebody like Soul and like Justina Ireland are probably.
I think Claudia Gray's another one. I mean, I just. Claudia Gray. I mean, some of the YA stuff I'm definitely not going to get into, but I am going to. I'm going to stick with the comic run. I enjoyed this. I like Keeve, and we'll talk about more of that later, like I've been saying. And again, I need to sit down and let that first chapter just play out. It sounds like on Light of the Jedi, but I am liking this era with just a little sample we were given last week, because really last week was the official launch. So Light's out there, the first comic, and I believe at least one or two of the young adults and maybe one or two of the kid books.
Justina Ireland's book, I believe it's called Into the Dark, is available now. That's the young adult, like really young adult. Hers is what is considered young adult, while Sule and then Soul and then Cavan Scott's
we're not going to be able to stop. We might as well just keep them Sule. I know,
it's too late now. We've like committed too hard to the Sule.
The brains are made up. He's Charles Souffle here in the Star Wars Time Show.
A Test of Courage is out now. That is Justina Ireland's young adult book. All right. So there we go.
Well, you at least know over here we may get through Light of the Jedi in about 2 or 3 months.
I will say that I really am, like, as far as I've gotten into it, which, like I said, is 7 chapters. It reads faster than the Thrawn Chaos Rising, so that's good. I like books that have short chapters and not like 40-page chapters where it's like you can't find a logical stopping point if you're in the middle of it. It reads fast. Like I said, before they even came out, or like last week when I just got the book and hadn't started reading it yet, I agree with you that the characters so far that have been introduced are very interesting. And the story that's being told is also very intriguing. So I'm a big fan of it so far. But like, you know,
and we'll get to it because I just keep stepping all over our comic segment. But I love the look of the Jedi Order during this time period. And I'm talking like for us figure nuts, even though I feel like I'm slowly even slipping away from the collecting scene now. I mean, that's how bad shit's gotten over here. I even last week, Nick, I was making these attempts to reawaken or reignite the fire within my collecting and toy photography soul to do something. Because like I've got nothing. I got nothing in the queue. I think I have 2 shitty shots left to share on Instagram whenever I feel like it. So I'm starting to feel like, all right, well, I got nothing to share. That means you probably should try to create something, but I can't do it. And a lot of it is I got to spend time with the little kid. And by the time it's 5 or 6 o'clock, after you've been with a 4.5, 5-year-old all day, you typically just want to either start drinking beer or go down and just kind of tune out and maybe play a game or just kind of catch your breath and feel like your own self again. Yeah. But I even like I finally was like, you know what, fuck it. These figures that have been open for a year and they're just sitting here. You're not doing it. You're never going to take a goddamn picture. Just get them out of the way, right? I'm trying to remove barriers, Nick. So I'm putting them into glass cases, putting them on their little 3D printed stands so they don't fucking fall over anymore. And I even was like, you know what? I'm going to go buy tackle boxes for my accessories. Maybe if I organize my accessories, that will motivate me to shoot some toys, because it has nothing to do with my lack of motivation. That's why I'm not shooting. It's because my accessories are out of order. That's why. And sure shit, Charlie and I, we run out the dicks. I found fucking perfect tackle boxes. By the way, anyone that wants these things to organize, especially your Black Series accessories, if you have an excessive amount like me, these tackle boxes are perfect because there's dividers in it, so you can actually set rows for spears, long guns, short rifles, handguns, heads, hands, right? Nick's sitting there going, holy shit, he is truly losing his mind. But I know people listening to the show are going like, yes, that would be great. Yes, accessory OCD.
My tackle box just has fishing line, hooks, sinkers, pliers.
Yeah, yours is actually a real tackle box.
Gear. Yeah.
They're perfect though, man. They're nice little flat boxes. Like I said, I got 2 of them because you can't mix good guys and bad guys together. So the good guys have a box and the bad guys have a box. And even within that, here's where the OCD gets really crazy. First order guns can't be mixed with other era guns. So first order guns are all in their own little slot.
Because the Imperial stormtroopers will never use the guns of a first order trooper.
Oh, you know, in this community, like if I posted a picture like out of era, they would kill you.
Yeah, you would be skewered.
Oh, he's using a first order with Cad Bane. What a fucking idiot! You know, that type of shit. We would lose
all of our listeners instantly. The show would fold within weeks.
Well, I'm pretty sure we already managed to do that just by taking a week off, because the stream last week was our lowest view in a long time, and then this week we got in here and we're like, hello, McFly. Nobody was here.
We gotta give the people time. They're still coming back from their breaks as well. They're on a mental break.
I blame it on Google's decision to stop sending out email notifications.
Yeah,
I'm not fucking around. Like I know they looked at the data and they're like, 0.02% of people actually use those emails, and sadly, I was one of those 0.02.
Well, here's the thing: is the way that they use it. They were like, "Oh, well, only 0.1% of people open them." It's like, for a notification email, I don't need to open it. It literally says in the title what I want to know.
Right.
Star Wars Time Show is live. It's like, okay, fine. Now I can just go to it. Like the fact that they killed it.
I know I've missed a ton of content because over my years of running EB, I built up a hell of a sub list for, fun channels to follow, trailer channels, game channels, Star Wars channels. And every day I just kind of like, all right, well, there's a notification. Don't care about that one. Ooh, let me check that one out. And these days, I'm not going to look at the YouTube app to see notifications. So apparently, Star Wars Theory has released either a trailer or the whole second episode of his fan film I had no idea about.
Oh, nice.
This other weird shit. And then, you know, obviously that's why we don't have a bunch of people for our live stream. That's why KRT can do a fucking 36-minute hot live stream and get 7,000 views concurrently. And we are going to talk about it, but I mean, they ran a live stream on the Rebels sequel update, and it was essentially our speculation segment from last week. It was dead on.
It was literally the exact same shit.
Under the guise of it being a leak, where we just use our brains. We're like, listen, that was one of my predictions. This is the segment I was talking about. I was like, Rebel sequel, I think we'll finally get something. Either it's dead or this. But then Nick and I were like, honestly, though, with Ahsoka and where we are predicting where that's going to go, the Rebel sequel seems mute. And of course they jump on that with, it's a leak, we know, blah, blah, blah. And now they blow up on Reddit again and they are the kings of Star Wars. But that's just me being a hater. That's never going to fucking change, because go watch that 36-minute long live stream. I don't know how you fuckers watch us for 3-4 hours sometimes. So I guess I'm not really saying much, but
we're almost 36 minutes into this podcast and we haven't even started the show.
We haven't done a damn thing. Like, we haven't said anything of relevance or importance or that could enhance any of your lives. Yet they're like, hey, we got some leaks. Here's the time we're going to go live, and thousands show up, and they're like, and then they're sitting there like, oh yeah, you're never going to get your, at least, over here on the Star Wars Time Show, you're never going to get monotone for too long, because my ass will at least get fired up and maybe have another Boba Fett bitch off where I try to offend people and I actually have people drop their subscriptions to us. So, we like to keep it a little colorful over here, but whatever, dude. Let's get into it. We do have some topics. I know a lot of you're probably like Nick and I. We came off such a damn high with The Mandalorian, the Luke episode, the Disney press event, and all the reveals. And then you're going right into the holidays, and you're just like, yeah, it's 2020. Life kind of sucks, but you know what? As a Star Wars fan, we're having a good time. Life is looking good. And then, the trees go away, the lights come down, and you're left here now on January 12th going, well, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, there's, we don't even have a firm release window for Bad Batch or any of the 2021 Disney Plus shows. All we really know, my friend, is some batshit crazy WandaVision is coming out this Friday. And if you've seen the trailers for it, I don't know what the hell to make of that. I always kind of, I guess I give the MCU people a pass because they haven't done us wrong yet, but the marketing for that show has been terrible in my opinion. Like, I want to watch it just to see if it's as big of a train wreck as the trailers make it out to be. Yeah,
the funny thing is like, I don't have cable TV, so I don't really get a lot of commercials. Like, I watch Hulu and I have the ad supported Hulu, but outside of like one post about it releasing on January 15th, I had heard nothing about WandaVision. I was like, what's happening here? I know that there was like a trail, not even like a trailer. It was like a teaser that showed like this little life that they're living in. That's almost like Full House is fake.
It is wonky.
I have no idea what's going on.
Like on Disney Plus, they've uploaded, they're calling it like a Legend series or something where they give you, they give you kind of like a Cliff's Notes video breakdown of the characters that are going to be in these Marvel shows. So, I mean, there's one up there for Vision and Scarlet Witch, but yeah, I'll check it out. But, kind of back to the Star Wars thing. We're back in no man's land. Yeah, the future is bright, but the present right now is bleak.
Yeah, the present
is bleak.
The present's a little empty.
Yeah, we may have to start cooking up some more battle brackets and shit to fill time, because I feel like this week we got lucky with a few topics, but you never know. So maybe we'll be having some special topic casts coming up in the early part of 2021 on the SWTS. Still working on the interview circuit, working on Blainer things. I just need to make Baron's Black Series an official part of the team. I think I'm going to do it.
He's just remove from the unofficial.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get him a Star Wars
guy.
Time email, because the guy really does, without any prodding, is out there hustling and trying to get people to talk to, even if they tell him to go fuck himself. So
hey, at least if they tell him to go fuck himself in the future, it can be done over official channels.
Right.
So
so I think I'm going to add Spencer to the official SWS. SWS. The hell is that?
Star Wars show.
Yeah.
We're now the Star Wars show.
I wish we should be the fucking Star Wars show. I do like Andy. The other guy is a dildo. I got nothing wrong with Andy Gutierrez, but the dude, fuck him. And again, this is me being a hater, right? I mean, I am open about it. I want to be those people, so I am going to shit on those people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not a good way to go through life, but that's the way I roll.
So, Spencer, I hope this was a good way to hear that you're being promoted. I know it wasn't as flowery or as grandiose as you would hoped, but Spencer Barron is now becoming our official Star Wars Time Show PR.
Don't hold your breath, Spencer. I'm the one that's going to have to do it all, and it's technical shit, and I hate doing technical stuff. So, I mean, this could be like a months-long venture, but I do plan to get you a Star Wars Time domain email, and I may even throw you up on the masthead on the site.
Yeah, I will say that the one time that we added somebody else to the site, they only wrote one other.
Yeah, they stopped doing it
and never came back.
They stopped doing anything for the show. Yeah, and that is the intern, aka Mr. Tico. I'm sure he's feeling a little down today, like I am, because our Buckeyes just got absolutely blasted last night.
I got waxed.
I'm not going to say I was surprised, but when they actually were hanging with them for the first two quarters without their full team, I was like, all right. And then Alabama just bammed them. I mean, it was they couldn't fucking stop them to save their lives. And they even took out their Heisman. They gimped their quarterback, and they still couldn't stop the backups. It's like, I want to cheat like Bama cheats. There's no way Bama went all season without a COVID outbreak. Their coach fucking had COVID, yet none of their players had it. Give me a break. How does he do it? I hate the guy, just like I hate Belichick, but I respect him because of what they do.
Yeah. I mean, he's got so many national championships just from 2003 to now.
He now has more than Bear Bryant just at Alabama.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's crazy.
So Nick Saban is a man. He's also the highest paid coach, I think, anywhere at this point.
Yeah, it is. It's like, I know people that look at the score and be like, oh, the Buckeyes didn't deserve to be there. They totally deserve to be there. There's just, they were missing 2 D starters, 11 other players, and they were going up against one of the better Bama teams that's been out there in the past few years. So
yeah. I mean, when Devontae Smith had 12 catches for 200 yards in the first half.
Right. And we broke his hand or something. Like I don't even know if he played the second half. And
he didn't play in the second half at all.
They had their JV in. I mean, this is one of those games where the intern, I was texting, I was like, hey, bro, I got to tune this shit out. Let me know if I need to turn it back on. But I'm just someone that if I know it's hopeless, I can't sit through the pain.
Yeah, you probably turned off the Steelers game
too. The Steelers game, fuck that. This is going to sound sick, but this is the type of fan I am. If my team's going to lose in the playoffs, I'd take what happened to the Steelers any day over a last-second field goal or loss. Any day.
Yeah.
Because Nick's right. Within 5 minutes of the Steelers' playoff game against the Browns, I was emotionally detached. I was like, this is a joke! It's 21-0 within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
28-0 by the end of the first quarter. So that was actually easy for me, Nick. I mean, usually a game like playoff games, I get very anxious. All day yesterday I was kind of pacing, but I still knew. I was like, you know what? Don't get too upset. It's Alabama. Your team's fucked up. Don't expect anything good. And I picked the Steelers to lose just because I explained last week. I hate my teams more than the opposition. So I always expect them to lose. I'm, glass half empty. That's how I live my life. I always prepare for the worst just in case it comes. So I'm ready. And if it doesn't, it's a little more sweeter. But I'll tell you what, once that Steelers game started, I was like, well, I guess I can go watch The Crown because there's nothing worth sticking around for this shit show. So here we go. Here we go. All right, man.
Let's kick off our shit show.
Let's get to it. Let's do some Star Wars talk. I mean, we did sprinkle some Star Wars into that 35-minute.
We talked about the High Republic for a bit.
Diatribe of nothing. But this first one, honestly, I was talking to Nick before we went live. I was like, dude, I'm surprised you threw that up there, because when I saw this Lucasfilm Games deal, I just saw a sizzle reel trailer and was like, hey, look, this is what Lucasfilm Games, it's on the box. And it was like, they start the trailer with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which, you know, if you listen to the show, you know, my man and I, we love the game, but you wouldn't think, if you're like, hey, we're Lucasfilm Games, hear us roar, that your sizzle reel starts with a mobile game that most of your fan base despises because it's from EA and it's a mobile game.
Yeah, I mean, you actually get like the sizzle reel itself is secondary to the actual announcement,
right? And that's why a good thing Nick reads, because I, like most humans these days, just saw the moving images and was like, bah, 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 bah,
what the fuck is
bah.
this? Yeah, like the sizzle reel itself is everything that's already been developed. So you see it's actually interesting what they put in there. So everything that you see outside of Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO was released under the licensing deal from EA and Star Wars. And everything, to my knowledge, that's been shown in here that is story-related content is canon. But I don't know. I mean, like, one of the prominently featured things is Knights of the Eternal Throne expansion pack on Star Wars: The Old Republic, and that game, to my knowledge, is not considered canon, but whatever. Anyway, the big piece of news here is that Lucasfilm and Star Wars have officially announced Lucasfilm Games as the umbrella under which all new Star Wars games will be developed.
Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but we heard this months back where they were I guess kind of
basically taking LucasArts and then kind of
I know the whole Lucasfilm Games thing was a thing earlier in 2020, like, hey, yeah, we're going to fire up Lucasfilm Games again and blah. It just stopped at that. And then this seems to be the next, I guess, announcement reveal. And like you said, it's still not what we want to hear. Like, this isn't like, oh yeah, Lucasfilm Games has the license back. No. I think EA still owns that, sadly. But hopefully this is Disney's and Lucasfilm's posturing, letting us know, like, hey, when this deal ends, we're going to start taking it in-house again. We're going to start taking on the burden of development, publishing, everything, and cut out people like EA. Is that what you're thinking, or is this just more bullshit?
I really do think so, because this is what it says on the official Star Wars site. It says Lucasfilm Games is now the official identity for all gaming titles from Lucasfilm, a name that encompasses the game's rich catalog of video games and its eye toward the future. So to me, that means, one, as we all know, or we all should know, EA licensing deal for video games ends in 2023, I believe. So there's still 2 years left on it. But we have not heard anything about a renewal of the deal. In fact, we've heard a lot of people saying that the deal itself was probably a bad idea to start with. So now establishing Lucasfilm Games as this sole identity for all Star Wars games and for all Lucasfilm games is a big step in the direction that you were talking about, Matt, in the direction of moving away from that licensing deal, that exclusive licensing deal with EA.
Don't you think? I mean, I'm still thinking that was one of those deals. You know, they're like, hey, here's $4 billion, thank you, and they get it. They're like, what's most important to us? In our little treasure chest we just bought from George? What is most important? And obviously, they're like Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Bam. And then, you know, they gave the games to the intern. They're like, I'll do something with it. He's like, hey, EA, you want to take this on so we don't have to think about it for the next 10 years? Thanks.
Yeah. And like, I remember when that deal was announced, like at that time, EA was still a shit show in terms of a publisher, but they had all the studios that had made great Star Wars games in the past. Like they had BioWare, and that was in 2015. BioWare still wasn't as shitty as it is now. Like it wasn't a complete disaster. They had Visceral, they had DICE, and one of the things that I was excited about was the potential of DICE making a Battlefront game. But then when it came to fruition, I was like, man, it just really, like, Battlefront 1 just really didn't live up to my expectations.
No, it sucked.
Yeah, and like, I kind of felt bad for feeling that way, for feeling excited about this EA licensing deal. But now I feel like they have realized that too. Like, Lucasfilm and Disney have pulled themselves back from like the complete and utter enamorment with the movies themselves, and they're like, okay, well, we have to realize that we have TV, we have movies, we have games. There's a lot more ways for us to make money and to capitalize off this franchise. So this move, I think, is a good move, and it is the move that will eventually lead to a more open publishing initiative for video games. And one of the big things that I actually was surprised to see today was an indication that this could be happening sooner than we think. So even though it's not Star Wars related, the first announcement under Lucasfilm Games was that a brand new Indiana Jones game is now in development by Machine Games under the production, or under the being produced by Todd Howard, who was the head of Bethesda Game Studio, which is totally unaffiliated with EA in every way.
Is he leaving Bethesda?
I mean, Bethesda is technically owned by
Microsoft now, right? So this is...
I have no idea.
I mean, honestly, Nick, this could be a tip of the hat to like, hey, by the way, if you want to get into some of these Lucasfilm games, at least this one, it's going to be a Series X exclusive, or at least a timed exclusive.
So the Machine Games, the actual developer, is the developer of Wolfenstein Youngblood, and that was multi-platform.
That was pre-Microsoft owning Bethesda. Like this is new.
Yeah, but I don't think that Machine Games is owned by Bethesda.
Yeah, I mean, look right under here, the first reply, praying this isn't Xbox exclusive. If it is, big deal. So, build a PC or buy an Xbox.
Yeah, so Machine Games is owned by ZeniMax. So ZeniMax owns Bethesda, or owned Bethesda, but Bethesda it's not the other way around. So I think that Microsoft bought Bethesda from ZeniMax, because ZeniMax owns a ton of studios. Like they owned Bethesda. They own ZeniMax Online. They own Arcane Studios. They own id Software. They own Machine Games, Tango Game. So like they own a fucking ton of studios. But Bethesda was specifically like picked out and bought by Microsoft.
Hey, well, good thing I have an Xbox just in case. But yeah, I mean, we got an Indiana Jones, nothing Star Wars related yet.
Nothing Star Wars related, but that shows that Lucasfilm Games is now working with other publishers, other game studios to make titles, which to me says, hey, get ready, because this is probably going to happen with Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm still slightly bummed about the Star Wars gaming verse at this time, because I mean, I know it's coming down the pipe. It's going to be another Fallen Order shit. It's like, okay, it's good, 8 out of 10 type of game, but the milquetoast boy, do something with the Mandalorian. Like we've been saying for months now, make a fucking open world Star Wars game just like Ghost of Tsushima. It's not hard.
Yeah.
You got the damn roadmap for you at Assassin's Creed Star Wars. I don't give a fuck what you call it. Just make it.
I think that at this point, EA's kind of run their course with the license. It takes a long time to develop a game. And if they're not going to get the license renewed before it ends in 2023, they really don't have a lot of time
I know.
left.
Well, I mean, these idiots better be planning something at Lucasfilm Games then, because
I would hope so.
Enough's enough. I mean, I love SWGO, but it's a fucking mobile game that's been around for 5 years. I play it every day, but again, it's a free mobile game. It's a time killer. It's essentially just a routine for me. It's not... I wouldn't necessarily say I get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, it's literally just like it's now a part of your life.
It's gone into my OCD constructs where if I don't do my daily SWGOs, I could die. It's one of those things.
Yeah. So, I mean, all that we know that's coming from EA for sure is Jedi Fallen Order 2. We don't really have a release date on that yet, to my knowledge. I would assume it's probably going to be late 2022. But at this point, I don't see EA coming out with any sort of huge announcement here's the next big Star Wars
It's just
franchise.
like, I mean, even Cyberpunk's busted ass world. I mean, imagine that world, but the Star Wars 1313. You know, you're still you're a named merc. I mean, that's what you are in Cyberpunk. You play a character named V, but you're basically just a mercenary. And I am still playing that game, dude. I looked. I'm almost 50 hours in. I can't help it. It almost reminds me. You gotta understand. Like, I grew up. A lot of my gaming was spent in the NES, SNES, PlayStation 1 days before consoles were connected. So whatever game code you got, that's what you fucking got. I mean, a lot of the games I played were glitchy. So playing Cyberpunk, it almost makes me feel like I'm back.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, it is. It's like you just be playing and it'll fucking turn off. Or like, half the map won't render or people melt right in front of your eyes. I've seen fuckers, like, I'm just sitting there and you'll see a dude like ragdoll across the sky, like zero physics. But the story, the side jobs, and just farting around Night City, blowing people away if you don't like them or stealing cars. It's got that kind of GTA, I could just live in this world and do dumb shit all day type of feel.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up after the first couple hours I played it. I don't know, like, I'm sure it would grab me, but I'm just like in full addiction mode with the Star Wars MMO.
I mean, there's nothing else to play right now. That's why I keep playing it. But if you have a game that you like, play it. Like, I used to be a guy who was like, oh, I got to play this because I got to play it. It's like, no, I want to get back to where I'll game if I like it, if it makes me happy. Otherwise, I'm not going to, force myself to do it. But I have had some sort of fascination with this busted ass game that at this point, I don't think there's anything they could do to fully fix it.
The Polish government is literally may sanction fucking CDPR. Like they're literally opening an investigation into CD Projekt Red's work on Cyberpunk 2077. And they may I don't know what they could do to them as a governmental body in Poland, but they may fine them. They may do something to them because of how this game has been essentially falsely advertised to some degree.
Right.
Like, especially if you bought it on old generation. I mean, at this point, old generation, granted, PS5 and Xbox Series X have only been out for fucking 2 months and half the people in the world can't even get one. So, but if you bought this game on like a base model PS4 or Xbox One, it is hot garbage. So, yeah, man,
he's not kidding, because I still have just an Xbox One X, which is a great console. It's not the Series X. That's kind of become what, I got a new TV. So the way it happens in the Haywood house, if a new TV comes in, it comes to my pit. Right. Yeah. So I got the 75-inch Samsung. My 65-inch Samsung goes up to the family room above the fireplace. And then that 50-inch Vizio went to the dining room, kind of where Charlie and I do the schooling every day. And just, you can watch from the kitchen. What the hell was I saying?
You were going to say something about CDP or 2077 on One X.
Oh, yeah. So... the nice thing about Microsoft, it doesn't matter what console you have, your saves follow you throughout the cloud. So I was like, hey, whatever, I'll download, install 2077 on the One X, and Jesus Christ, it does. It's like the camera hardly even moves. Like, if you try just to pan around the world, it's like like there's no fluidity to it at all.
And dude, like, you have to realize that before 2 months ago, that was like the flagship console of Xbox. Like that should have been what you were aiming to release this game on. It was,
I believe, at least hardware wise, the most powerful console, even more than the PS4 Pro, and it struggles to run the shitty console port of Cyberpunk.
That's fucking ridiculous. I mean, I hope that CDPR can kind of figure shit out, because I really would like to see a studio like that make a Star Wars game. I mean, the work that they did on The Witcher was really, I don't want to say revolutionary for the games industry, but it was really the first trilogy of games that came out with next to no controversy around them in terms of the offering of the game and the story that was being told. It was a pretty clean trilogy. And then to see them release 2077 to complete disaster, literally almost on every console aside from PC. But even now, PC is like if your save gets too big, it'll literally just delete your game.
That is insane. And they're like, well, there's no fix. 8 megs or bust, and I don't know how you design a game that way and think that that's okay.
I don't know.
Because what was it? When this first came out, CDPR lost. It was like a $1 billion in valuation, I believe.
It lost 30% of its stock value in 3 days.
Shit.
30%.
Don't rush a product to market, okay? Oh, look, we got Devin and SW Props popped in here, and they are digging.
Hey, welcome to the show.
The porn stash, as who called that? Big Amish calls it the porn stash. That was
Amish, and I saw Liam give you a nod to the stash as well. Liam's back in the show.
It's a good, creepy old guy stash. I will admit it. And I might wear it longer than I probably should.
There you go. But as we were talking about, Lucasfilm Games is announced. There's no Star Wars titles that are announced for it yet. Only the Indiana Jones, but it's something to keep your eye on if you are a fan of Star Wars video games, especially for the next couple of years.
How much you want to bet the Indiana Jones game is perfect? Because they're just going to make like an Uncharted, as they should. You'll be able to like explore. It's not going to be a shithead character, like a milquetoast boring guy, obviously.
I mean, that is the easiest thing to do, honestly, is just to make a Uncharted clone.
Just say like, the Indiana Uncharted Jones. That's it.
Yeah. Like the worst thing that they could do is to try to make it like a Fallout or a Elder Scrolls, where it's like this completely, because that just doesn't fit indie.
Right.
But yeah, that should be an easy home run.
Yeah, I would want an indie game to be third person action RPG-ish type of stuff.
Yeah. Like finding relics, doing these different types of things, and I'm excited to see what happens for Star Wars under this new umbrella. But yeah, I mean, Lucasfilm Games official now. It literally took over the LucasArts Twitters, like Twitter and Facebook and everything like that. So if you followed LucasArts before, then you were already following them on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever else that you were following them. They just repurposed and renamed it. So
good stuff.
That's the big update there.
Yes, you are right, Liam. I have been hanging around the playgrounds a little too much. They call me Chester the Molester. In Kingdom of Weird, no, I've actually have not blown a gasket yet, but we are only an hour into the show, so you just never
didn't miss too much. Didn't miss too much yet, but it could happen at any moment. I mean, we have a big thing coming up about Kevin Feige and Star Wars finally, but we never know where that can go.
Magnum PI as a guest host. I like it. That's why I like the regulars, man. You got to love the Star Wars Time Show super fans. They keep me going.
Yeah.
All right, dude. So yeah, Lucasfilm Games. Let's just keep our fingers crossed for something great. Please, people, I know you're listening. They've done it for you. Sucker Punch. You name it, it's there. The templates, Ubisoft, call them up. All you have to do is make an AC-like Star Wars game.
Steal their source code, reskin everything to Star Wars.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care if it's a Jedi lead. I mean, I would take a Mando lead. It doesn't matter. I mean, a Mando lead would almost be straight up. Well, a Jedi would be a direct correlation to Ghost. But even a Mando lead, like someone like Din, he gets the Darksaber and he starts working on that shit. There's people now like, what if Din and Ezra are related and blah blah blah. I'm like, you could technically work that. Din would be the older brother. It's just. Let's get into the comic.
Lots of potential.
Yeah, let's get into the comics because I know the game license is going to let us down. It's like it's been so long since we've had a fantastic Star Wars game that you can't even remember them anymore.
Unleashed 1. That was the last.
There you go. I agree.
What you could argue was the last.
Yeah, I agree. Force Unleashed 1 probably was the last great, just Star Wars third person action game.
Yep.
All right, buddy. So last week was an action-packed week, if you will, if you're into the Star Wars comic book scene. I wasn't quite prepared to do 2 video breakdowns for me, myself, and I, because that's basically what they're for, and obviously to use as talking points on the show, so I don't completely feel like I waste my life when I do these. But we got the release of Star Wars number 10, I guess 2021 now, so this is still the main, the proper Star Wars run dropped, and we got the first issue of the High Republic comic. But I'm going to start with Star Wars 10 because, those are our boys. It's the OT era. Remember, these comics are set in between Empire and Jedi still. And as always, I'm really just trying to go back, in these in particular, the Star Wars and the Vader runs, I'm trying to look for interesting new canon additions, Easter egg type of stuff, and you'll get a little bit of a recap if you watch the videos. But in this one, there's kind of a focus put on Lando again in Lobot. The title here, this is where I'm trying to entice people to click, but clearly it doesn't matter. But I call it Lando the Liar, spied on the rebels for Jabba before Return of the Jedi. So that was the one thing that came out in issue 10 where I felt like, that's interesting new canon. It shouldn't surprise anyone, any Lando fans. I mean, he is one of the greatest, one of the gnarliest scoundrels out there. I mean, he literally sold out Han Solo, who just came to him for help. If you've been reading this comic run, when Lando's by himself, kind of giving his little soliloquies, he's like, "Fuck the rebels. I don't want to be mixed up with these nut jobs and this, that, and the other thing." So we learn in issue 10, Nick, and it's still kind of continuing these. I forget what they call them, Operation Starlight or something like that. It's a little thread we got going, but the rebels, they've kind of been scattered. Their comms have been cracked. So, last issue we learned that Leia sent a strike force to go get this really old, protocol droid that could speak this crazy language of a dead race that no one would be able to crack. So they actually get this guy, they fire him up, but as soon as they turn him on, he goes Age of Ultron. Like he's fucking beating the shit out of Goldenrod and R2-D2. It is battle bots, okay? And they don't know what the hell is going on. They're like, what the hell? It's like, we just turned him on. His programming went haywire. And lo and behold, our homeboy, Dreadlock Lobot, uses his creepy little head tentacles to essentially do some ESP with...
Plug-in?
Yeah, not a plug-in, but kind of like a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi connection, Nick. You're not far off. Okay. He links into this, maniacal robot and uses some of his programming to kind of just chill the robot out. The robot's like, "Oh, hey, what the fuck was that? My bad. What do you guys need?" And they tell him, they're like, "Hey, we need you to start essentially being our translator for this fuck language," or whatever the fuck they call it. And the best part about this droid, I do kind of like this droid. He's like, "Fuck you guys. Like, what's in it for me?" It's
like, why?
Yeah, this ancient droid is wheeling and dealing. And who do we know is the king of wheeling and dealing? Lando Calrissian. Yeah. So he comes into play, and he's explaining to them like, Lobot is allowing this droid to function for you rebels. One of those deals. So they actually get the robot. It's translating shit. They send a squadron out to start looking for some of the fleet that's been scattered using the new code signals. But as we turn the page, we get a panel, again, Lando by himself, so something shady's going on. And guess who gives him a ring? Bib Fortuna. And he's pretty much like, "Hey, dude, remember, you're supposed to be spying on the rebels for the Hutts. That was part of the deal. That's why we're not coming after you like we came after your boy Han. Give us some intel." So Lando's like, "Listen, they're basically, their comms are fucked. They got this droid. They're trying to create a new coded language so they can get their shit together." And Bib's like, hey now, that is worth some cash to us gangsters. That type of intel we could easily sell to the Imperials. So hook your slimy, white, soon-to-be fat friend up. And Lando, I guess to his credit's like, "Yeah, I'll think about it." All right, so he
didn't immediately sell out the rebels,
right? But
he was waiting for the right price.
But he is working with them as a Hutt spy. It was positioned that it wasn't the Hutts really sent him here. I mean, obviously he's been stuck with them since Cloud City fell. Yep. But through the hollows or whatever, they pretty much said like, "Dude, we got a bounty on you too. So unless you can give us something in exchange for your life, you're gonna die, or we're gonna take you in." So they're phoning him up like, "Dude, you got any secrets on the rebels yet?" So really, that was the biggest kind of canon addition, that motherfucking Lando. Still, I mean, obviously,
we leave him in Empire in the movie and we come back to Return of the Jedi, we think he's Team Rebel all the way. Like he literally...
Yeah, he's a general.
Yeah, he's like, he pulled off that Battle of Tanab and all this shit.
Yeah.
And as we are finding through this comic, he absolutely hates being with the Rebels right now. Hates it.
Yeah, I'm dude, there's got to be a turning point in this series, though, where he does kind of go full Rebel.
Yeah, because...
You got to imagine. You're
right. It's like I said, it's why these are... The Star Wars proper run has not been great the past few issues, but the Lando stuff and kind of getting a few more layers on that character has been nice. It is Star Wars after all, right? It's not like I'm, sticking thumbs up my butt and seeing how long I can last in that painful situation. But really, it kind of ends with that fleet not a fleet, but a squadron gets sent out to kind of find other rebel fleets, and lo and behold, there's some IPDs that latch onto them. They get lost. They have no way to find their fleet. And as we talked about in issue 9, we're dealing with Poe Dameron's parents, who are currently married at this point in time. And basically his mom is lost with the squadron. His dad is on the ship with Lando. And what we learn is that what Lobot is doing to this robot is killing Lobot.
Oh, wow.
Like the power required to unfuck this old droid is sapping Lobot of his life force.
Damn.
And of course, Lando explains to us, he's like, listen, guys, this is my dude. Like he might kind of be a drone now, but he always wasn't. The Empire gave him that implant, but he broke free. We were kind of scoundrels together, and then we got in a hairy situation. And because of Lobot, essentially getting rid of the last bit of his humanity, Lando was allowed to escape. So that's why Lobot at this point in time seems like he's dead, right? Like he's just sitting there. He doesn't talk. He doesn't even seem human. But we also learned in this issue that the reason for that is because, Lobot, kind of got some of the robotics, they call them hyboids, Nick. Some of the hyboid implants from the Empire, but it wasn't until him and Lando got in trouble and Lobot essentially sacrificed the last bit of his humanity to save Lando that Lobot became just kind of that stoic, very robotic-looking hyboid.
Yeah. Interesting.
It ends basically with everyone hating Lando and Poe's dad being like, listen, motherfucker, I'll kill you. So either Lobot's dying or you're dying because my wife has got to get back. Yeah. And that's what we got out of Star Wars number 10. So.
Yeah, it seems like they are kind of leading towards this. It is more Lando focused. Obviously, he's a big player between ESB and Return of the Jedi. But it seems like it's a very slow burn getting him to where he needs to be before we get to the siege of the Death Star too and everything like that.
So somebody's watching Rots upstairs.
Oh, why? What happened?
I can hear it.
Oh, really?
Through my fucking headphones. So I've probably already made my kid deaf by listening to stuff loud. Yeah, it's up.
Put on Star Wars, mommy.
She's up there, right? Yeah, listen to it right now. Oh boy.
As a good Padawan.
Yeah, of course. But then it's always like, well, Daddy, I watch it because I know you like it. It's like, now you're going to do that stuff to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like, oh, my bad. We'll, I'll be here. If you want to actually, instead of just listening to me talk about these, I have moving images with me talking about these comic books on our YouTube channel, which is, just go on YouTube, search Star Wars Time Show, or go to starwarstime.net and hit the subscribe link in the sidebar. And if you're not subscribed, what the F is your deal? Come on. This is great free content.
Yeah. All the content is free, by the way.
Actually, I wouldn't even say it's great. It's at least free. So you can't bitch about
watchable free content.
But fear not, my friends. We got another comic book to get through real quick. And this one was
brand new.
Yeah, brand new run. Like I committed back in the days, Nick would handle kind of the main High Republic book, even though I jumped on the audiobook because it was free, thanks to the hot tip from Nick. But I would jump on the comic book, at least the main run. So it released last week. So we got Star Wars, the High Republic comic book, issue 1 review, also known as Keeves Knighting. Yeah, Big Amish is right. Hit us up on TikTok too. He's Big Amish. Also, probably should get added to the masthead if he keeps up his work on TikTok.
Currently intern.
Yeah,
intern number 2, TikTok intern, Big Amish. We will not be giving him an official email yet.
Yeah, you
gotta keep. Spencer has been doing this for a while. Amish has got to earn the email.
Well, you're working your way up, Big Amish. Don't worry about it.
You're getting there.
But like I said, the rate I administer the Star Wars Time Show server, it could be like a 6-month production run.
Yeah, it's like
hit us up on TikTok too, because Big Amish is trying to just figure out how to use that for us. I mean, I know he put up my Boba rant that it's probably gonna get me fired one day if it finds the right person. Or people won't ever want to work with me. But yeah, I mean, so follow us there. But anyways, back to the High Republic in comic book form.
Yes.
And it seems like at least this initial run is going to follow at least the main character, because the comic books, they always latch on to like a main, but then they bring in some auxiliary, ancillary, and you get threads all over the place. But I think the main character for this High Republic run is going to be Keeve Tanis, who in the opening pages of this issue is still a Padawan learner. Her master is Skier, who is a Trandoshan. Jedi Master, who at this point in time is missing his entire arm, and I'm sure that is explained in the Light of the Jedi book, but I did not get this here. But anyways, we pick up with Keeve Tanis, this Padawan, and I dig her, man. I know there's some stuff going around out there in the fandom, like, oh, look how stupid and boring all the High Republic characters look. And if you look at some of their one-offs that they released, yeah, some of the Jedi looked kind of basic and whatnot, but I actually think this Keeve Tanis character looks like a Wonder Woman. I mean, she's got that awesome like half-shaved head look. She has a bow blades, but they're actually kind of like Mauls, where she wears them separated and then unites them when she's ready to get busy.
That's nice.
She I don't know, like she had hints of Anakin to her. Like not full on cockiness, but very confident in her skills. Yeah, there was like maybe hints of young Kenobi in there. I just liked her as a character. I think she's going to be a badass Jedi, and we actually do get to see her knighted in the issue. So you kind of get a glance at what the trials / knighting ceremonies were like back during the High Republic era, and it was very grandiose, because this is the highlight of the Jedi. I mean, this era is why Palpatine wanted them to suffer. Right? He's like, enough of this bullshit. The light of the Jedi, they're the beacons of hope. Fuck them, right? That's where him and Plagueis...
In the book, too, like, once you get to the introduction of the Jedi in the next couple chapters that you're listening through, when they're introduced, it is very... I don't want to say flowery, but it is with a very high reverence.
Oh yeah, they are the Mac Daddies of the galaxy. They are the Avengers, the superheroes.
Yeah. Whereas in the Grand Republic, we learned through the TV series and through other content that like people had kind of gotten tired of the Jedi. They looked at them through like a very jaded lens.
They didn't trust them. They thought they were shitheads. I mean, that's why I know a lot of you weenies out there like, oh, the middle 4 episodes of Clone Wars are so stupid. They're so stupid.
That's like that was trying to show you how the galaxy itself had kind of turned.
I mean, there's a great
turn.
Literally, they tied a moment that happened in the Clone Wars to those 2 sisters that Ahsoka was with. Like, listen, up in your temple, up there in the upper parts of the city, you guys, everything's great. You're the heroes of the galaxy. Down here, you guys fucking kill people. You kill people trying to stop bad people. So, are you good or are you bad?
Yeah, and in Light of the Jedi, I mean, at least as far as I've gotten, it is a very, very reverent look at these Jedi. Right. Like the people who are in the Hetzel system that's about to be obliterated, like they see these Jedi show up, they're like, oh my God, we're saved. Thank God the Jedi
it'd be like watching the on your left moment in Endgame, where it's like these people show up and they're essentially gods. They are. They're these wizards, these space wizards that can do magical things with their minds and their laser swords. And Nick's not kidding, because even in this comic, like, Keeve is on a planet for a trial, and you got like this little bug alien flying around. It's like, oh, what are you? Oh, you're a Jedi. Oh my God, look at I've never been around a Jedi. Like a super fan, like a paparazzi type of character. So anyways, I dig her. There's something going on with Master Skier, and like I said, maybe if I read the book, I might have some more backstory. But something shady is going on with that guy. Something is shady going on with Skier, just also based on the way this issue ends. So I'll be interested to see where things go there. It's almost like he's been infected by something. Something's driving him mad. He just seems like he's off his game.
That does seem to align with that other enemy type that we heard about. It was the Fenrir.
Okay.
Fenrir. That like organic kind of plant-like enemy. The Nihil is definitely the primary.
You're dead on then, because this isn't a spoiler, but I saw like a cover down the road, and Skier's growing fucking like Groot shit out of his stump.
That's the Fenrir or the Fenrir or whatever that was one of the other announced enemies. It's the Nihil are like the actual
right.
The primary.
They're the big
bad
bads.
Guys.
They're like,
and then this.
They're not Sith, but they're like the Sith in what we're used to.
Yeah, they're almost like they're very similar to what the Knights of Ren should have been, like this marauding band of like bad.
Yeah, you're
people.
right. The Knights of Ren. There's another just complete fucking waste. Complete fucking waste.
Yeah, that they could have been so cool, but they really kind of fucked that up.
Hey.
But the Fenrir are like this organic. I don't know. It's like this organic life form.
Just say they're like fucking Groot, because that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah. And apparently, they are going to threaten the balance of the Force itself in some way. So we'll see.
I mean, if you want to get super nerdy, and if
you take over Jedi,
right? I have no clue what they do, but if they can get in and almost become like a parasite, and if we believe in midichlorians and all that shit, then I guess they could essentially influence the Force by being within another organic being.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. There we go. But anyways, back to the High Republic comic. So, Keeve's there. She's getting through her trial, and then just shit starts getting crazy. Like these big ass locusts are coming after her and doing crazy things. And, as she's running around trying to save this village, save herself, she has a vision of the Starlight Beacon. And how, when it was turned on, that it essentially affected the normal migratory behaviors of these big-ass locust bugs. Oh. And after she contacted Maru on the beacon, it's like, dude, change the fucking frequency. They stopped going around. And she's all bummed out, like, I fucking failed my trials because she went to save the village versus completing, getting a pennant off of a really high spire. But, of course, we knew that was basically her real test. So she gets back to the beacon, and they have, like I said, you really get to see the regalness. They're almost like the royal fucking family at this point in time. The Jedi, because for Keeve's knighting, it looks like hundreds of them. They're in balconies. They got their white robes with gold trim. They all light up their lightsabers. It is quite a spectacle to see. And like I said, we meet two grandmasters. I was surprised, as Nick was, to learn that Yoda is a grandmaster even at this point in time. He's hanging out with Grandmaster Vetter. I'm not sure how we're pronouncing it, but it's Veter. We met Master Maru. He kind of looks like a Planet of the Apes type of character, and like I said, he seems to be mystical / techie for the Jedi. Nick, if that makes sense, it's almost like he runs the Starlight Beacon through the Force somehow. I don't fucking know.
Interesting.
But really, the Yoda stuff was neat because they clearly draw him as a much more masculine Yoda. You could see he was still working out back then. And like I said in my breakdown, I even think he has a different saber hilt. Because he's got a little bit of gold on it. So it was a good first issue for a brand new era of Star Wars, and I'm definitely going to keep on top of it, unlike some of the other runs this year. The Bounty Hunter I gave up on, Afra I gave up on. But this High Republic, the first issue has kind of grabbed me. I want to see what's up with this Chris Jedi. I mean, as we said earlier, she seems to be, she's kind of like a Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, everyone loves her and knows she's a badass, but for some reason she's not on the council. We do learn in this comic, though, that she is made the marshal of the Starlight Beacon, so I guess that's a big deal as well.
Yeah, she was also, like, she plays a pretty important role so far in the Light of the Jedi book as well. So she's definitely a well-respected master. It will be interesting to see, though, like, if they do bring up the conversation about the council and why she's not on it and all of these different things, because I mean, you essentially killed off one of your most interesting characters in episode 1. Like, not having, I mean, I know that they did it for a reason, but not having any more stories about Qui-Gon Jinn and canon really detracted from that character, who was super interesting and who did have a different view of the Jedi and how the Order should be run. It'll be cool to see if they make Avar Kriss kind of that, or Avar, A-V-A-R. I say Avar. That kind of Jedi in the High Republic era. So, I mean, if you guys are interested in future Star Wars and stories to be told that you're not familiar with, this is what you need to be on. You need to be on the High Republic train, whether it be through the comic books, through the novels, anything like that. Like I told Matt this week, and he said multiple times on the show, if you are a Prime member, Amazon Prime, you can get Light of the Jedi for free.
He ain't lying.
Through Audible.
He's not fucking pulling your leg unless someone in your family already copped your one free redemption. Yeah. But I got Light of the Jedi, $20 for free through Audible, downloaded right away. And outside the first chapter just being kind of mundane, it is quite the presentation for an audiobook. And this is the first audiobook I've ever listened to, so I don't know what to compare it to except like shitty John Hines sound bites and Baba Booey sound bites from their book on the Stern Show. But I mean, it is quite the performance. There's a full score, there's sound effects, and the narrator, like I said, will go into character and be like, "Oh my god!" So it's been neat, and it's a well-known fact. I don't like reading. Okay, Star Wars or not Star Wars, but we're kind of in a content void right now. This is a brand new unexplored era of the franchise. And as we've seen, what these wily motherfuckers do these days is they'll be planting shit in this medium, this era, that era, and then lo and behold, it shows up in The Mandalorian one day. So exactly. As being a good Star Wars fan like I am, I at least want to be somewhat in the know in the New Republic, High Republic content.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, I committed to the first 3 Thrawn books. I really kind of fell off with the Ascendancy trilogy that's out now. I'm hoping that I can kind of pick it back up later, but I'm hard committing to High Republic because I really do feel like this is something that Disney wants to flesh out even beyond the Leslie Headland.
Yeah, of course.
TV show.
I mean, it makes sense because this is like theirs 100%.
Exactly.
Right.
This is all of these characters are brand new. They're Disney.
The only carryover is Yoda and the ideas of a Jedi, and that's about it.
So I would recommend any fan, even if you haven't been a fan of what was done in the Skywalker era for Disney, to really give this a shot, because this is going to be a massive content push from Disney and Lucasfilm in terms of books.
And if anything else, the first chapter in audio format will put you to bed. So if you need like something to get you to sleep
on it. If you really need, I can just tell you what happens in the first chapter, and you can fast
I know there's some
forward
people in here, and we actually read parts of the first chapter many shows back. So, but we'll leave it at that. I actually just saw what Big Amish is trying to do here, and he's trying to do something we asked him to do, and I completely blew it over and didn't know what he was saying. But we told him to start checking timestamps while he's watching the show. That way, if he does want to pull something for TikTok, it could be easier. So he's in there, Matt, time a show. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And now I get it. So Big Amish, I think whatever we were talking about probably would have happened around the hour mark. But anyone else in the chat, if there's something dumb I say, interesting, or something interesting or dumb Nick says, to help us all out, to help Big A out, could you throw in timestamps or something? I mean,
Yeah.
Nick and I will try, but my focus is on trying to get a show out.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be
looking. I'm not even really looking.
Yeah,
at
I just
the show. I will say, 1 second, cat removal. Amish, if you're watching the show on YouTube, I don't know if you're watching on.
He's
your
on his phone. That's the problem. So
okay, that's the problem. So if anybody is watching on desktop, you can hover your mouse over the beginning, over the front of where the show starts, like the beginning of the time thing, and it will tell you where we are at the moment. Like I'm hovering it right now, and we're at 1 hour, 19 minutes, 28
yeah,
seconds.
so I'm going off our OBS clock, which is going to be slightly different, but it's still very close to what Nick said. So like I said, Big A, I would say look between the hour and the hour 15 mark, and whatever the hell you thought I said that might have been good to use, it should be in there. But
yeah, it's I'm not looking at the chat that much, and when I do, it's like I'm probably late to whatever message comes
I'm
up.
kind of the director here. I get I'm in the back end of YouTube, so I get it all live. Nick is actually watching it like you all are.
I'm watching the actual feed that you guys are watching.
All right, so. But please, if there's other people in the chat and there is something that pops up that you think would make decent TikTok content, drop it right in the live or hit up Big Amish. Let him know. I think he's Impala Austin on IG, but he is trying to help us out. So
he's also in the Discord as well.
Yes.
Please use the Discord if you guys have any content.
Yeah, we had a few more join the
good.
Discord last week. So any new listeners, if you're not in there, come in. I mean, we're not always that active. I mean, Nick and myself, unless we get added, are probably not going to be in there too much. I definitely look more than Nick, but it is a place.
I dropped in some wholesome memes.
Yeah, we get some memes, and this motherfucker needs to start dropping memes on the IG versus in the Discord where two people see it.
The thing is, like, I don't know, like how
everyone steals memes, dude. Just steal them and put them up. Like, who cares?
I'm too much of a nice person because technically, those two memes that I put in Discord, I got from my friend Kelly, and I intentionally cropped out her Instagram handle because I don't want, like, I don't know if she wants people.
And honestly, dude, she probably didn't create them
IG.
either. I mean, no one creates these fucking memes. They just throw them up on their account and run with it.
Yeah. So, but those memes, like, I'll throw up some memes every now and then. But
I really do. Like that's the next position we need is a meme poster for our IG account. We're gonna have like 8,000 interns.
Yeah, once we get to a certain point, we'll start.
I know
adding more
SW
interns.
Props and Super Scoundrel. They dig up some good memes too. So
yeah,
but
I mean I can like. I just don't know if we wanted to start dropping memes on the IG, but I can do that.
Here's my
I can
opinion.
Commit to a meme drop.
I would anything, dude. We've talked about this online. Like there are some accounts out there that make us want to vomit. Because they have like 50 to 100,000 followers and they're like, oh, all original Star Wars content. And we're talking on IG. And all they do is take like an official graphic and type the news over top of it.
Yeah, it's
original
content, my ass.
But because it's Instagram and Instagram sucks and there's no links, when we put out Star Wars news, no one can really fucking see it unless we type out the whole thing in the description because we do our news on our site and then share the post to Instagram, where on Instagram we probably should just take less effort, vomit up a screenshot and be like, hey, fuckhead said shit today, and there'd be like 10,000 likes on it.
Yeah, it's hard too because like we would have to build out the shots with the text overlay on them and stuff. I don't know
because I know. Listen, I'm not stupid. Neither is Nick. If you see our account on Instagram, you think all we do is either we are taking toy pics or we're a feature account. Where if you actually pay attention, we typically get 4 or 5 stories out a week, the question of the week. But we definitely could have just way more random Star Wars content on there that isn't necessarily a post from the website.
Yeah. Also, if you actually go back to like the first 2 or 3 weeks, our IG was live. I was posting memes at that point. He's
good. Like Nick is good. I like to think that I could find memes that would be good or even make memes, but I don't have a meme brain. I don't have meme humor. I think it really is like, I'm not that much older than Nick. But I think being good at memeing is a generational thing.
It's definitely true. Unless you like hard commit to like, I'm just going to be a meme master even at my own age. Like it's one of those things that just comes with like being younger.
Yeah,
and
it's like, I don't know. I mean,
you lose your meme ability.
I'm full of snark, piss, and vinegar, but the meme thing just, once I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, I could have done that. But I'm like, well, I could never think of it on my own. It's kind of like why I can never program. It's like, I can read the shit, and they're like, well, go ahead, write some code. And we go, fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah. I can read what you did, but I'm not trying to like create it myself. I'm stupid.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, hey now! We got Joe up in here. But yeah, any memers out there, send them to us. We'll post it. We need to, obviously we're going to keep doing the featuring, but I would like in 2021 to have
expand we have content a little bit more.
.NET content on Instagram. We've got the features, we've got the questions, but it'd be nice to get, just a Star Wars fact, Star Wars history, Star Wars meme, that type of shit.
Yeah, and at least according to what you've been saying, Matt, as soon as we hit 10K, we can actually start to drop links
in
into
stories
our posts.
Only.
So wait, what links only?
In stories, we'll be able to do swipe up links.
Okay, so not
right. The posts themselves are still bullshit. So the people will still have to be looking at our stories, but we should get the swipe up functionality to actually take them to the article at that point in time.
Okay, so we'll at least have some way to direct people to the official Star Wars Time
It's fucked
Show
up. I mean, it really... I like having the site because sites make you seem more real, even though we're about as fake as it gets. But I also understand that... I'm telling you, there's fucking sites out there. I mean, Spencer sent me one. I'm like, this guy has this many fucking followers, and this is what it is? It is. It's just, here's an image of Luke. Luke's name is Luke. It's like, okay, cool.
It's like, thanks.
Leia was a princess on Alderaan. All right. It's like, okay, and people are fucking following it and liking it like motherfuckers. I do not understand social media anymore, especially IG. But anyways, it kind of put the High Republic comic to bed. Check out the full recap and review on StarWarsTime.net. I think I even gave it look at that. I even gave it a review summary, an 8 out of 10. Good. It is rated as good.
Yeah.
Cover art sucked. Good. Overall art was about an 8. Story 8.5, entertainment value 8.5. That gives you an 8. That's how we do things over here.
Yeah, add then divide.
There we go. We can do basic math.
So yeah, next we're moving out of the comic book, the written word, the words and shit that
got
everybody
some leaks and rumor
really
shit to get into.
Most people in our community, I assume, cannot read based off of what we have learned over many years of doing the show, based off of how they've talked about the written word itself. So let's move on to things that our fan base can actually keep up with, and that is moving picture-based content, flashing colors and bright lights. And the big piece of news that we got from the movie world this week was that we finally found out what Kevin Feige is going to be, at least, some of what he's going to be working on for Star Wars, and that is a collaboration with Michael Waldron, the writer of the yet-to-be-released Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie. He is teaming up with Feige to work on a new Star Wars film. Very interesting that it's brought up now when there's literally no information about it, and Multiverse of Madness isn't out yet.
Yeah, and Nick, I don't know if you saw, but there was an update on this today.
Okay.
So some actual real sites got a hold of Feige and were asking him about this leak. Let me scroll down. Look at that. Look at that update section. I came in here.
There we go. Update.
Gave Nick an update. Yeah. So Feige actually came back and responded to these leaks. And didn't shit all over him, so you might as well take it as this is legit. So what Nick just said, that this guy Michael Waldron is more than likely is working on the movie as a writer, because this is what Kevin said. Whoever was talking to him, I forget, but we've reported, as have others, that Loki showrunner Michael Waldron is going to be writing a Star Wars movie that you are producing. What is the rough time horizon for that for you? Are we thinking early, mid, or late 2020s? Excuse me? Okay, all right, I figured that out now.
Okay, yeah.
Here's what he says. So again, just parse out the words, and he absolutely does not shit on the fact that the interviewer's like, hey, this is out there. What do you say? And Feige said, we're thinking that we're not. That is, everything you've heard about that has been leaked.
He really caught himself there.
Yeah, I mean, he just confirmed it right there. All right. Yeah. It's not stuff that we've officially announced or gotten into. So, suffice to say, the focus is on all the number of Marvel things we're working on. The what, where, when, and how of that Star Wars movie, that is, I don't know. I'm excited for Book of Boba, the Rogue One show, and the Obi-Wan show, and Patty's movie, which is also the Rogue One show, Kevin. Someone should have told you that. And Taika's movie. Smiles. After Thor, Love and Thunder, of course.
So, I mean, I don't want to put any words in his mouth. Obviously, he is involved with Star Wars.
That is official as it gets. We know that.
Yeah, that and it's also as confirmed as it can get through a non-official confirmation that he is working on this film, because he literally said everything you've heard has been leaked as to like catch himself. But apparently he was also just asked straight up, like, are you doing anything outside of producing this movie? And he says, not at all.
Yeah. So I mean, he still is just apparently stuck to the one Star Wars project. He is not becoming the MCU maestro of the Mandalorian's universes and all that.
Yeah. And he is still very busy with Marvel. I mean, you know how hard it would be to essentially run two massive universes like Marvel and Star Wars? It would be a near impossible project, especially to the degree that they're building out.
I mean, dude, think about what his 2020 probably was. It was putting out the fire of COVID and completely reorganizing the fourth phase of the MCU. We've still, I believe, have only had one movie in Phase 4 come out, and that was the second Spider-Man movie. Black Widow was supposed to come out last March. That was going to be the next Phase 4. They've had to shift projects that were coming out, projects in production, projects in pre-production. So he's probably spent the past almost year at this point just planning shit, not even being able to do the creative planning or talking about Star Wars or this. Disney, they got to make sure that MCU juggernaut doesn't run out of steam. I mean, 2020 is the first year we haven't had an MCU movie in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really down year for everybody, but particularly for a living universe that was really subsisting on consistent releases throughout every year. I mean, we used to get like 3 MCU movies a year.
I think there's some years you almost had 4 movies.
Yeah. So to not have a single one in 2020 was very jarring for those Marvel fans. I mean, I know that we're getting WandaVision. I know that we're getting Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there's a lot of TV content coming to Disney Plus soon, but that doesn't make up for essentially you ending Phase 3 with Endgame and then trying to, really smoothly move into Phase 4 and not being able to do that.
And I've always said, I've always said, people have told me I'm stupid and it'd be oversaturation. I've always said I would take a Star Wars CU like they were running the MCU, and you get 3 Star Wars movies a year. I mean, no fucking complaints for me. But
you got to do it in that MCU style, though, where they're not like directly connected.
Yes, yeah, you might get a stinger at the end to be like, oh yeah, they're in the same world, but this isn't like a sequel. These aren't really directly connected, but at least we're getting that now. John and Dave are they're going to give us that in TV form, which is fine. I mean, let's be real. These TV shows are just long ass movies. That's it. They're just broken down in the little parts versus sitting down for 4 hours straight like we're all going to do. And I know Nick is excited to do for Zack Snyder's Justice League this spring. I just found that the intern has basically skipped most of the DC movies. Like this weekend, he's like, Man of Steel's not bad. It's like, yeah, Man of Steel is actually pretty great.
Man of Steel's not bad.
And if they would have just maybe made Superman 2 instead of getting right into, we got a world build, smash all the characters together in BVS, they might have actually been able to build something with Cavill's Clark Kent. But no, they're just like, hey, we had an okay origin story. Now let's just fucking, Batman hates him. They're going to fight already.
Batman versus Superman. Yeah. Dude, like if you ever want to have a project fucked up completely, just give it to Warner Brothers.
I can hear right now they're watching the Duel of Fates scene. They're doing the rave. Anakin, I can spin my lightsaber faster than you.
But yeah, man, I mean, I'm excited to see whatever Feige does here, because I think that even though he's only attached to one now, he's probably going to be at least somehow involved with Star Wars past whatever this film is. And I mean, there are people out there saying that this is likely going to be the 2025 movie, or no, 20. I have lost track completely. I think 2022 is probably going to be
Patty or Taika.
Rogue Squadron.
Okay.
I'm going to say that because we have an official title there. 23 is probably going to be Taika, because that is officially announced.
Are they doing yearlies or biannual?
It's every 2 years.
So 2024 would be Taika.
So 24 would be Taika, and then 26 would be this.
God.
If this is...
How depressing. I mean, remember when this all happened? All the good old days of Disney buying it? They're like, hey, you motherfuckers, you're going to have at least one Star Wars movie a year to 2020. Yeah! And now it's like, you'll be lucky if you get one, 8 years after Rise of Skywalker. And then once you get that one, you have to wait another 2 years. Like, come on. Disney, get over it. You stumbled a bit with how you fucked up the release with Jedi and Solo. It's okay to not make $1 billion. It's okay.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see how everything plays out. I really want to see what happens to Rogue Squadron. That's going to be the big thing. Is like Rogue Squadron's the only thing that we know for sure that has a name, that has things attached to it. What happens after that is really gonna dictate the pace of Star Wars movies from here on out.
I just hope it's more Wonder Woman 1 than Wonder Woman 84.
I still haven't watched it. I have to watch it though, because it ends its free HBO Max run on the 24th. Right. So I only got like less than 2 weeks left.
And I've watched the shit twice, so I have a very well-formed opinion on Wonder Woman 84, and there's really not much great about it. Okay. It's not like a tire fire, but it's a C, like a 6-7 type of movie at best.
Yeah, it's not like Justice League.
It's like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that's gonna get me in trouble, but it's like they got a little too cute. Like, oh, everything's got to be like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that sucks.
Like, oh, the power of love, blah, blah. Yeah, like very little ass kicking is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, dude. All right. So it's been a while since we talked about our buddies over at the KRT.
Yeah.
But they've recently resurfaced. They were kind of feeling their balls again after that Disney investor call, and like some random shit of theirs hit or like was close to hitting. But they're back out there. They're back on the leaks. The Redditors have allowed them back in their good graces and
forgiven them.
Yeah, I'm looking at leaks every day. It's what you got to do if you're trying to come up with something to talk about during what has become a now 2.5 to 3 hour long weekly Star Wars podcast. So you got to find shit, and where some of the best shit is on the internet, and that is Reddit. But I was over there and I see like, ooh, hey, that's a summary of KRT's latest leak reveal live stream. I'm like, oh, great. And I go look at it. And as I said earlier, it's essentially under the guise of being a leak, exactly what Nick and I speculated on what could happen with both the Rebels sequel and Ahsoka on episode 143, which for those keeping score was just last week. In particular, it's during the segment where we did our top 15 and then our kind of looking ahead predictions of 2021. And the last prediction we had was something on the Rebels animated sequel. We'd get something, be it it's dead or it's going. And as we were talking, we're both sitting there like, dude, at this point in time with the Ahsoka series in the works, it's going, World Between Worlds laden logo. They're just gonna do the Rebels content in live action.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. And I even went a step further than KRT, and I'm like, Ahsoka is going to mirror what Ezra did for her. She's going to use the WBW and pull his ass out, and somehow Thrawn will probably get out too, and then here we go. We're on the search, this, that, and the other thing.
Dude, I'm like, I'm reading this, like, because, you know, you're covering it here, but as I read this, I'm just like kind of getting angry. I'm like, dude, this is the same shit we said.
It's exactly
like,
the same.
Literally,
It's
almost
exactly
word for
the
fucking
same.
word.
And don't get me wrong, like, I am a narcissist, but I'm not saying they listen to us and they're copying. No, they've got their own game, and it's one Nick and I need to get better at. And it's just, when we say we're speculating these days, we're just going to say we have inside information.
Yeah, it's sickening to me that, like, they can get 7,000 people that literally they probably just said exactly what we said under the guise of,
I mean,
like,
if you're on the live stream,
leaked.
I copied in the summary. Like, they actually, here's the deal. We have to beg people to look for timestamps. KRT fans listen to their streams and then type out fucking Cliff Note summaries of them.
Yeah.
Like, someone's there, like, doing a fucking transcript. Sounds like Rebels sequel is the Ahsoka series. It's pretty much what we said last week. Go back and roll the tapes. It may not be 100%, but I know we were in the same vein.
Yeah, we definitely said Sabine's going to be there. We said that we could possibly get Hera. I even said, like, who knows what's going to happen with Zed, and they literally put no word on Zed thus far.
And here's, I guess, what we could give them, because this stuff we wouldn't have said, but Animated Rebels was in production, but due to the success of Mando S1, they changed course. Okay, that could be very true.
That could be true, but who knows?
Could be very true, because I guess the series was very far in production. Apparently, LFL doesn't want to fully abandon animated Ahsoka. They may wrap her story in that. Who the fuck knows? But more or less, KRT has confirmed, you like that? They have confirmed what the Star Wars Time Show said last week about the possibility of the Rebels sequel and what the live-action Ahsoka may have done to its fate. But there, the plot of Ahsoka is obviously the search for Ezra and, by extension, Thrawn. Oh my God. Yeah, of course you may get Rex in that series. Of course you would. You already got the damn actor hired, and he's happy.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Tamira Morrison is essentially just on the LFL payroll at this point. Right. He's in so much shit.
He's the man.
The
story of the Mandalorian, Mando, Ahsoka, Rangers, Book of Boba will extend into at least the mid-2020s. Yeah, no shit. It's called a good fucking show that makes a lot of money. It makes them $600 million a month. You don't turn that type of shit off. I'm someone, if you've got a winner like the Mando, you beat that thing until it is dead. Yeah, like get it to like Last Jedi levels of pissing fans off. Then start scaling it back. That's when you take Mando off the air. Until then, that shit should last for decades. It should be like Days of Our Lives or one of these soap operas that have ran for 50 fucking years. So that's really nothing big either. Yeah, so there you go. The KRT bros have confirmed what the SWTS dudes used their brains and the Force to figure out last week. I love it when I'm right?
These guys.
It feels good to be this smart when it comes to Star Wars speculation. It really does. But you and I, we need to get better at how we phrase what we're saying. From here on out, we don't fucking speculate. We're giving you leaked information.
Yeah. Don't worry about where it's coming from.
I've got an inside source. Nick has an inside source. That's all we're going to say. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So, again, not like no real information on the Rebel series other than just kind of exactly what we said last
week. It's just, logically, it makes sense. And I'll give them that. I mean, the idea that Rebels probably was in production, I completely buy that. Completely buy it. But they were like, holy shit, look at this Mando thing. Let's maybe pump the brakes on that and use some of that content for Ahsoka because we know we can turn that into another cash cow, maybe a sub-getter, or at least to keep people on the hook, those that want to, bounce in between program airings. But, we kind of said this last week, so tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, You heard it here on the Star Wars Time Show. Ahsoka will be covering lots of content that probably would have been in the animated Rebels sequel.
Makes total sense.
And I'm excited for that. We need dates, man. I mean, I still believe they just casually threw out 2021 for a lot of shows, but you and I know they're not going to jam them all at the end of the year, and that's where Book of Boba kind of has a December slot. So is Ahsoka coming in 2021? Will it be before the book? At the same time, am I going to be essentially losing an entire weekend to break down Star Wars shows that no one cares to watch? Who knows?
Yeah.
But there you go. You know, we got to report on the state of other Star Wars fan podcasts, especially those that are way more popular than us, because we should be just as, if not more popular. All right. Thank you. Look at this. So we've already given you an hour and 44. Those guys only gave you 36 minutes to essentially tell you the same stuff we told you last week.
Yeah. And I mean, after that, I mean, we're pretty much done with all of our topics.
Shit.
So we're going to move.
What is going on here? This is like,
this is nice. It's a nice clip for the show.
They're gonna revolt. They're gonna be like, hey, what about the other hour and a half you guys owe us?
No, sir. See, we have to go based off of the content that the Force provides us. And this week, not a lot of content.
It does suck not having Mando anymore. But hey, we've done it before. Yeah. We definitely can fill airspace.
Hey, look, 2 hours of time on a show where basically all we talked about was Lucasfilm games coming out and 2 comics. Like, that's not bad.
That's some quality, nonsensical banter right there, my friends.
Yeah.
All right, but we are, as Nick said, we've woven through the opening random tangent segment. We've hit all the important Star Wars topics of the day. And now it's time for the fan segment, because that is the type of show we are. Not only do we want to give you this amazing Star Wars hot takes, but we also want to include you on the show. So every week, you never know, it could be an hour before the show, 10 minutes before the show, a day or two before the show. We're going to throw up a question of the week on Instagram. We'd like you to reply, and depending on your answer, you may get featured during the question of the week response segment, which we are in right now. So this week's question, Nick, was, and it was late, but are you consuming High Republic content? Why or why not? I want to try to keep stuff somewhat relevant. Nick is right. Thinking of questions is way harder than it should be.
Yeah.
Because you just want to fall into the rut of all the same shit, like who's the best or who's this or who's your favorite. I felt like, well, at least this somewhat ties into some of the day's topics as well as what is happening in Star Wars right now, and that is the High Republic era. So we dropped this out for our lovely fans to reply to, and we got some responses.
I'll do the normal, so I'll read through the regular. All
right, yeah, I'll take the 2 story responses. So the first one comes from our buddy Kingdom of Weird, who I think is watching live today. So what's up, dude?
He's in there.
But his response was, nah, I'll just get the synopsis from you guys. Give me it in animated form and I'd be all over it. So yeah,
there you go.
I agree. I mean, I would much rather love these being moving images, but if we can get Nick to pick up his pace on the book, he can fill you in on that. And hopefully my breakdown of the comic helped you there. But you're not going to get any of the young adult shit. None of that. You're going to get the proper novel here, if we ever get around to actually moving through it, and the comic breakdowns. So we speak your name, Kingdom Weird. There's nothing wrong with that answer. That is the right answer, okay? That is the right answer. You may just be waiting a lot longer than you'd have to if you read it yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, who knows when we can give you the full breakdown on Light of the Jedi? Right. It's whenever one of us finishes either listening to it or reading it.
My early review is the first chapter is great for putting you to sleep.
There we go.
But Nick says it gets much better. All right, next up, and we missed him last week because he came in late, and then Nick purposely does not like posting stuff from Bostajan, but we got him in here.
Just hate him. Hate that guy.
That's what he said. He's like, I was like, sorry, man, we missed this. He's like, it's all right. Nick fucking hates me anyway. But here he is. Darth Hideous is back. Star Wars Toys 73. And it's a short one. I'll give him credit. Maybe Nick's punishment last week wised him up to the fact that doing 3 screenshots worth of swearing.
We are the arbiters of the content here, Bostajan, not you.
Exactly. But here he is. Of course, I'm devouring the new Republic content. High Republic, buddy. I've tried to get Matt onto audiobooks. Hey, it sort of worked. I'm on it if you're listening. I don't have a lot of time, so audiobooks are the best way for me to consume Star Wars words and shit. Very, very highly educated sentence. But that's the type of show we run here. So anyways, back to it. So far, so good. It helps that one of my favorite narrators is doing this book. I'm only about a third of the way through it. Honestly, it does feel weird not having the Sith as the main protagonist, but they may yet reveal themselves. Matt, don't be a fuck. Mm-hmm. Listen to the first Thrawn trilogy. You won't regret it. It's some of the best words and shit you will hear. And definitely listen to it. You can sack tap me if I'm wrong, you douche face. Also, fuck you, Nick, for not getting my response last week. I polished your balls and everything.
Look, man, like I said, we were pulling stuff quickly right before the show, and I didn't even look at story responses. And I think yours came in late.
We're definitely, we're never prepared. That's just how it is. Just get used to it.
You don't get a permanent spot on the show, Bostajan. Nobody has a permanent spot on the show other than
he is the gatekeeper of the content. All right, when I flip to this next one, this is going to be my pee break of the show. So
there we go.
Spend like at least 30 seconds on our buddy Jared's.
There we go. So Sir Dork 730, like Matt said, our good buddy Jared, says he's currently on chapter 6 of Light of the Jedi audiobook. So he's an audiobooker too. But he's at the same spot as me. Super interesting. It's fun jumping into an entire new era of Star Wars I know nothing about. I mean, yeah, that's what's super intriguing about this whole era, is that nobody knows anything about it other than the people who wrote it. Brand new content, apparently very well produced in terms of audiobook. And apparently a lot of people do audiobooks and not real books. Like Intern, Matt, Bostajan, Jared. Am I the only person who reads actual words and shit now? Maybe I should just be an audiobook or two, and then I can just put it on, fall asleep, and then let the words just seep into my brain, and then I wake up and I know everything about Light of the Jedi.
I think, and look, I just plopped back in there. I think Super Scoundrel got the words and shit.
Okay, so he's got the real
I think
book
he's words and shit in it.
This next one too. So this is Action Figure Neverland. Brian, I've been audiobooking Light of the Jedi.
I mean, we attract morons, bro. I mean, what do you expect?
Hey, look, I literally told people last week that the audiobook was free, so I should not be upset.
All right, hey, this is your fucking fault, anyways. It is fault. With me at least.
Yeah, really loving it so far. I'm not a big reader, so thank goodness for audiobooks. I decided to do it since I'm still so hyped up with Mando and upcoming Star Wars shows / movies. I need more Star Wars content somehow. And also, just in case any of those upcoming Star Wars stuff references in High Republic, I'm ready. So
I'm telling you, man, it's like minds are attracted to each other.
Apparently so.
I've been audiobook. I just I'm not a big reader, so thank goodness for audiobooks.
All of our responses should just start with "I'm not a big reader" and then go to the rest of it. Nico Tronis says, "I'm not, but that's because I have too much on my plate currently. May give the audiobooks a listen." But based on what I've seen so far, I'm not exactly excited about any of it. Seeing the lightsaber issue from the first comic is one reason I'm half checked out before actually reading it. Is this another Holdo maneuver? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he means by the lightsaber
issue from the first comic. I read the first comic and I'm like, what the fuck's he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, was there some sort of uproar from the community about a lightsaber?
I don't know, man.
They got a cross guard.
I had no idea. I mean, the only lightsaber I saw was Skiers and Keeve, and like I said, Keeve wields the bow that breaks down the two distinct hilts. Who the fuck knows, man?
Yeah, no, is that a problem? Because we've seen that before.
I don't know. I mean, who the fuck knows? It's like we talk about all this time. Star Wars fans hate Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's very weird.
Like anything new comes out for Star Wars, most Star Wars fans want to find what's wrong with it versus just letting it wash over them and seeing if they like it.
Yeah. So interesting that Nico has apparently heard bad things. I actually heard the opposite. All right, Impala Austin, who was big Amish, also on here plugging the TikTok.
See?
He says, as of right now, no. Super busy with work and as a menace 2-year-old and a menace 2-year-old. So
yeah, that's kind of what Klondike
kid
was saying in the chat here. He's like, young kids equals audiobooks. And I can feel that. I mean, it's like what I was saying. I'm not bitching. I love that I've had 4 weeks to just kind of devolve and hang out with an almost 5-year-old. But there are some times you're like, holy shit, these things drain your life.
Yeah.
No alone time.
Very true. Eventually, fuck yes, I will. Also, if you have TikTok, follow at Star Wars.
That's how you do it
for more content.
Big Amish.
There we go. The plug.
Boy, he's working his way to that masthead.
Oh yeah. And then we got Bat2797 here. He was in the chat earlier as well. Better late than never. I'm consuming the High Republic content. Light of the Jedi is on the way, and I'll be glued to the Star Wars Time Show comic reviews and breakdowns. There we go. So
it sounds like Bat might actually be reading it.
I think he's getting a physical book.
Yeah, he just said,
unless he's getting an actual tape delivered to him to listen to it. I think. No,
he just said in the chat, still waiting for my hard copy.
There we go. The hard copy. That's the way to do it.
Boy.
Next up, we have CT1538. He says, no, just seems too mystical and fantasy-like for me. What? Not a fan of the art style personally, and the lightsaber in the tree panel sealed the deal for me. Is that what Nico was talking about? Lightsaber in the tree?
What's happening here, Nick? Like,
I don't understand how people can just be
this is where I
know nothing about this, but no.
This is where I at least feel like I'm not as dumb as I look. I don't like. What are we even talking? I'm glad that I don't even know what people are talking about here.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like
lightsaber
in the tree panel. Like I don't even know what that's referencing. Lightsaber. You read the goddamn comic.
I know. It's like. Did I skip a digital page? Did it get deleted from Comixology? I don't fucking know, man. I have no idea what's going on here.
I just don't understand. It seems too mystical. Have you watched Star Wars? I just don't understand. I will say, from as far as I'm into it, there's no more mysticism that is associated with this as there are with any other Star Wars properties.
I mean, honestly, it's almost less because it's in their face. I mean, 200 years down the road, the Jedi have been severely wasted, if not eradicated by OT. So the Jedi almost were more mystical in the OT in the sequel than they were in the High Republic because they were so plentiful. You know what I mean? Like they are more, to me, mystical, more wizardry-like, magician-like to the people in the OT and sequels because they didn't get to see them up front and center.
Yeah. I mean, and I will say again, for those of you out there, like, don't dismiss content from shit that you see on the internet. Like, if you see some asshole on Reddit say like, hey man, fucking Empire Strikes Back was bad, I wouldn't watch it. I think it's pretty shitty. Would you just not watch it because of that? Like, this is...
Nick, you're talking about humans in 21st century life. So yeah, I mean,
you're right.
We basically had an insurrection in America last week because people were telling them stuff on Twitter. So yeah, it's very easy to get people to drink whatever Kool-Aid you want.
I mean, like,
I'm with you, dude. We talk about this all the time, especially with reviews and when I used to do all that stuff. I never understood people that wanted to like read a movie review before going to see the movie yourself. I get maybe wanting to do your research on buying a video game or a car, like car in particular, because it's a huge investment. But if you're dropping $15, do you really want to know what the movie's about before you go?
Yeah. And I mean, like, for a book that you can literally get for free if you have audiobook subscribe, like if you haven't redeemed audiobook stuff on Amazon that you can literally get for free, take the time to form your own opinion. And this is coming from people who put out reviews because it is like people expect us to review Star Wars content at certain points. Like we've reviewed all the movies, we reviewed the games, like the Jedi Fallen Order video game. Matt does reviews of the comic books, but like I don't give a shit if you look at our review score or not. Like you should form your own opinion on this content. Don't let it be colored by somebody else saying that, man, I don't know, there was a tree and a lightsaber.
He's right, because once your mind is tainted, good or bad, you're going to go into that property with a preconceived notion of how it's going to make you feel, and that completely destroys any organic reactions to that art form.
Yeah.
You almost like you go in with a chip on your shoulder, right? Wonder Woman 84 was a recent example. I didn't read any reviews, but before the public could see it, it was like, oh, smashing success, blah, blah, blue. And then it gets released, and my stunt buddy's like, oh, dude, look what's happening. So were the reviewers full of shit or what? Even knowing that caused me to go on the Wonder Woman 84 on kind of wonky ground, because it's like, oh, I heard that it was pumped up, and now I'm hearing that normal people see it, and it's not. So I already went in almost judging it, and that's why I watched it twice. I had to watch it the second time. The first time I was watching with my dad, and he's literally retarded. Like when it comes to movies, he's like, do you know what's going on? I'm like, man, your dementia is fucking kicking in big time. Because like he was lost within the first minute. So I was like talking to him the first screening. So I was like, I'll watch it again. I wasn't really feeling it. I watched it again. I was like, okay, yes, I'm more in line with the 60 to 70% Rotten Tomato than the 90% that pro critics were giving it. And it is. I mean, unless you have to fork over a heavy investment, I highly recommend avoiding any type of opinions, reviews, whatnot on pieces of art, be it books, comics, video games, movies, TV shows.
And it's just like, it's so easy to consume, especially you can literally passively consume it as an audiobook. Like you don't even have to actively be reading. Like you could do just like Matt does. Go out for a walk, 30 minutes. That'll probably cover, maybe 3-4 chapters of the book. I mean, I just don't understand how people can be so dismissive of content nowadays when it's literally like, this is the future of Star Wars. Like you may want to think that the future of Star Wars is going to be, you're going to get Mandalorian content forever or Luke Skywalker, and we very well might, but like you also have to realize that you can't rely on one 7-year period of time forever. Like you have to be open to other stories that are being told outside of the characters that you know. And if you're unwilling to do that, then you're just not going to be a Star Wars fan for a long time.
I just want to know what the fuck the lightsaber and the tree panel thing is. If anyone's on the chat and they have some insights into this new controversy, fill us in. We're going to move on to the next one here. But
I mean, is it just like shit from like old days where like old English shit where you would see like blades in trees?
The only thing I don't know. I'm guessing maybe the Wookiee Jedi his hilt is wood, and apparently that doesn't work. I don't know. What
are you talking about? The Wookiee Jedi Padawan from Clone Wars is hilt.
Don't yell at me, motherfucker. I'm not the one that's angry about all this stuff. I'm just trying to guess what
doesn't. I just don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand it. And like, look, I'm not saying that this dude should stop listening to us, CT1538. I'm just saying, like, give it a chance for yourself. Like,
hey Nick, save some of this vitriol, because the last one's really gonna get you fucking worked up,
man. All right. Next one. This is J Moore 3000. He says, absolutely, just got my copy of Light of the Jedi last night and got about 100 pages into it. I'm excited for more Star Wars content in print. Some of the old EU content will be hard to beat, but they're off to a good start. Soul's writing style reminds me a bit of Drew Karpyshyn, which is a very good thing. Needless to say, I'm anxious to finish this one and for the next one to come out. Keep up the good work on the podcast, guys. Really top-notch stuff. Thank you. Yes, and I will agree. As far as I've read so far, it does remind me of Drew Karpyshyn, who wrote the Darth Bane novels. Very similar in terms of their chapter breaks. Like they don't write super long chapters, which I'm not a huge fan of. very similar in terms of the way that they describe scenes and things. So Soul's done a very, very impressive job so far. So,
I mean, Jay Moore, outside of Big Amish, they have the best stuff because they talk about us.
Yeah, I know, right? He said, "Keep up
like
the
right
good
there
work
at the
on
end.
podcasts."
Keep up the good work on podcast. Really top notch stuff. That I'll
Can't
take
fucking
that.
beat that.
I'll take that.
Sean O'Shaughnessy.
Oh, yeah, here you go.
That's a solid name. Even if I hate your
Nick,
response,
go, Nick.
no,
go.
mainly
Go,
because
Nick,
the characters are lame and the art style is lackluster, and the big bad
Nick,
is a load of plants.
Go.
Sounds like another Disney snooze fest to me. First off, this dude is just like ill-informed because the big bad is not a load of plants. The big bad, as we mentioned earlier, is the Nile. And if you would have looked at anything that was High Republic related leading up to the release of these novels and or comics, you should have heard about the Nile. And if you didn't, you really cherry picked out what you saw. And I mean, like, the art style literally doesn't make a difference if you're reading a novel or listening to an audiobook. There's no pictures in those. It's just words. I just don't understand how, like, I don't know. Maybe people just don't like content now. Like, they just want to sit there and they want to watch ESB over and over again on a loop until their brain melts. But, like, what are you going to do? Like, did your Star Wars life end after fucking 2005? Like, is that
my friends, by the way, think of this as my Boba Fett rant, but in Nick's demeanor, because that's what he's doing.
Amish, if you want fucking TikTok content, he tag some of these fucking timestamps where I'm not going off on these people. I'm going off on the mindset. Like, you need to go to our Instagram and read this, guys, because he started a whole thread of people yelling at him. I mean, like, I love it.
I knew this one would get you worked up after I heard you on that last one. I was like, I can't wait till he sees Sean's here. This is fun.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, I don't care about the Disney Snooze Fest thing. I don't care what you know.
Yeah, Mandalorian fucking put me to bed every Friday.
Yeah, another Disney Snooze Fest. Like, let's not even dive into that.
It happens on rare occasions, but I just like when Nick is the angry one and not me. It's nice because look, I like to smile and have fun on this show. I don't always like to yell and tell people they're stupid. I love watching this. This is fantastic.
Like, if you like, I can understand the people who have hate towards the sequel trilogy and everything around that. I get it. Like, it's done now. The content is already out and has been consumed. What I don't understand is people like this and like the last and like CT who are like, I'm not even going to try it because of something I saw because of a picture I saw on the internet.
It's all the time. I mean, Clone Wars, they didn't like it was animated. Rebels, they didn't like the style of animation. I mean, it's always something. And then the whole art thing, dude, it's a thread that I believe Venomous started. You know, he's got some major pull, and I saw this kind of on his stuff, but he essentially posted a video of him laughing at the art pieces, like the Jedi characters from New Republic, and some people just got absolutely butthurt, like, you're making fun of other artists and you just put out that video about Star Wars theory and how it was wrong for people to make fun of him. Like, what's your problem? Then obviously it starts a whole shit show in the comments. And they're like, you're an artist yourself. Don't you think it's kind of rude to be laughing at other people's art? And he's just like, hey, it's my fucking opinion. I think the characters look stupid. And as Nick is saying, the art can be one thing. Yeah, they may look silly or generic or boring, but who gives a fuck about art in a novel? There is no art in a novel, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. Like, the only art on the Light of the Jedi is the dust cover, and you can literally take the dust cover off, and then it's just a white ass book.
And actually, I think the art in the comics has gotten worse as a whole in 2020 and 2021. But the High Republic art that I saw, and Nick, I've actually been filled in now, so I can explain why people hate the High Republic because of wood. But I thought the art was fine. But anyways, during Keeve's trial, she has to climb one of these spires, And, you know, like I said, these locusts come in and shit starts to get fucked up and she's falling. And when she's falling, she sticks her saber into one of these big ass spherical things to slow herself down. And apparently people thought that was wood and like physically that shouldn't happen. So that's the big controversy.
Are you
that if you use a lightsaber on a wooded pole, it would not slow you down. It would just slice right through it.
Have you not watched the beginning of Return of the Jedi where Luke Skywalker literally hits somebody in the head with a lightsaber and they just fall?
Remember,
lightsabers worked differently depending on who was holding them. Like fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi cuts off some guy's hand and there's just blood gushing out from everywhere. Like there's just a pool of blood on the ground. And then Darth Vader cuts off Luke's hand and it's like he just stuck his hand, like his hand got cut off by fire. Yeah. Like, and it cauterizes it. And then Luke Skywalker hits somebody with a lightsaber and it doesn't even cut him. It just hits him in the head.
Well, Darth Vader also swings at an empty tunic and it does nothing to it. So
yeah, like the tunic doesn't even get cut. Like
but God damn it, really, Nick, if you stick a lightsaber in wood, it's not going to slow you down.
Dude, like if that's really what this is about, then like I just don't know what to say. Like
it's like Forney saying in the chat, man.
I mean, lightsabers have been portrayed throughout all of it has been so inconsistent. Like
we have reached a point in humanity where no one's allowed to have fun anymore. Everything there has to be shitty aspects of everything. No one can just enjoy. By the way, science fiction. It's not real, motherfuckers. Like. Half the physics that they make up in Star Wars wouldn't work in real physics. Just ask Neil deGrasse Tyson. It is funny, man. You gotta love Star Wars fans.
I just don't get it, dude. Like, if that's it, that is it. I mean, you can write that off to exactly what they wrote off the fucking shit in the original trilogy too. That lightsabers have a power meter and you can turn it down to where it doesn't cut through shit. And if that's the case, then you could literally turn it to where it's just like a knife and it just sticks in something. The only thing there.
I mean, Bossagen has a point, and I think you'll agree to it. The only negative about poopy art is that it doesn't really serve as any sort of eye catcher. Like, ooh, look at that. I bet that book is interesting. I do understand that. But really, for a novel, that's about it. I mean, the cover is there to suck your eyes in and maybe get you to pick it up, but the words and shit are what make the characters, not the imagery. Because as I've always been told, the joys of reading, Nick, is that you get to create the world in your mind.
I mean, that's true for me, because I know that different people, when they read a book, they have different mental.
I try to flesh something out in my gray matter, and it always looks stupid because just like I can't flesh out scenes for my toys to take pictures, I have a hard time figuring out like I'm listening to that book and, you know, the first chapter, you're POV with this ship captain, and I'm just sitting there, she must be in a silver room staring at a wall. That's kind of what I thought of it. All right, so we got fired up Nick twice. That was good.
Well, there you go, fucking Big Amish. If you want some TikTok content from me, you just got it.
I'd say like the 2-hour mark to 2:12, it might be in there.
So Mutant Jedi Rangers, our last responder, he says, recently finished the Light of the Jedi audiobook. Finished it already. Impressive. Really love some of the new Jedi and can't wait to read more about them. Especially Loden Greatstorm, Bel Zettifar, Avar Kriss, and Elzar Mon. So I haven't gotten to Elzar's introduction yet, but I have been introduced to the others.
Loden Greatstorm's a pretty boss name.
He's a green Twi'lek.
Really?
Jedi Master, yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. So, and then Bel Zettifar is his apprentice.
And Avar is the hottie.
Yeah, Avar is the blonde girl that you met.
If you're into girls, she's probably one of the best looking Jedi. She's up there with Isla for me.
There you go.
I need a live action version of Chris though.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, really, the only people that I really went off on, it seems like there's a good mix of interest. Some people not interested, some people interested. The only people who I went off on were the ones who said, I'm not going to read it because of internet things. If you, and here's what I'll say, and this is the God's honest truth. If you give content a try, if you read the book and then you say, I didn't like it, totally fine. Like that is you informing yourself
Yes.
on the content and then making up your own mind. But if you are out there saying that there's a picture on the internet of a lightsaber in a tree and that just did it for me, I don't respect your opinion. Like, I just can't understand shit like that. But that people can make up their minds whatever way that they want to, and some people do it in a really dumbass manner.
It really is. It's just, that is, and I teach this in my college HTML course. When humans get on the internet, they devolve. I do it. Nick does it. Every one of you do it. You may not know it, but you do it. Case in point, pull up a really long article online and tell me you read that whole fucking thing. No way. You're going to be sitting there scrolling up and down like, where's the bullet points? Where's the summary? I'm stupid. It's just the same thing now. It's like we have this internet group think. And again, I don't even like going into it, but look what that has done to America politically. We literally have 70 plus million people who are out of their fucking mind because they've been brainwashed by the internet. Brainwashed.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Like,
how do you spell HTML again? HTML. There you go.
There we go. But yeah, man, I mean, like our society is in serious fucking trouble right now. And like, you know, we're a young country. Like people forget about that. And like, we're really going through our rough teen years right now because I'm like, Taylor and I, like you said that, you know, your wife's like fucking renew the passports, get this shit ready.
Yeah, bro, and like last Wednesday, I mean, everyone knows what we're talking about. And if you don't, you're a communist. But last Wednesday, I mean, literally, once she got done with work, she's like, she had her passport in her hand. She's like, mine's almost expired. I got to get it. I know I lost yours. We got to get it. We got to get one for Charlie. I'm like, oh, whoa, whoa. Let's chill out. Like, we're not immigrants yet. Like, the place hasn't fully collapsed. Let's at least wait till the inauguration when they do fully launch the Civil War. But yeah, I mean, shit's here just fucked up. And a lot of it is because of unchecked, unmoderated internet shit. And thank God these fucking tech companies have finally gotten over the almighty dollar and are doing the right thing for humanity. And any one of you to think this is censoring, you're fucking stupid. They are private companies. Guess what? The side bitching about being censored, they're the ones that want bakers to turn away gay couples that want a cake because it's a private business. It's their right. There you go, motherfuckers. You reap what you sow. You break the TOS, you're gone. Every one of these motherfuckers should have been gone years ago, but they kept them on there because they make money. It's not hard to figure out. And all these other idiots like, oh, I lost so many followers. Yeah, because they're fucking bots and nut jobs. That should have been banned.
Like if you lose 50,000 followers after Twitter does a bot purge, that should be a heads up to you that you had a lot of bots.
Yeah, the content you put out attracts Russian bots.
Yes.
So there you go.
Whatever. Anyway, that's the end of our Star Wars fan questions. I urge all of you to form your own opinion on the High Republic and not let the internet trolls in a picture of a lightsaber in a tree fucking color your opinion before you actually read it.
Yeah, otherwise Nick's going to tell you your opinion sucks.
Like your opinion, if that is it, if that's what your opinion is, you are brain dead.
Yeah.
Like,
no, come correct.
I don't know what else.
Come
to
correct.
tell you.
If you're an idiot or not, at least have your dumb facts lined up.
Yeah.
When it comes to people like myself, and I know Nick's probably the same way. If I read something, see something, I am going to vet, double check, and whatnot, and have my ammunition ready for the morons that just click on titles and don't read anything. It's not hard to like almost be somewhat intelligent in this world. You just got to follow the breadcrumbs. You got to do a little bit of research to vet shit out, and you can really see what is happening.
Yeah, like take a fucking second. So anyway, we're done now with the fan question of the week. That's going to move us into our top 5 Star Wars fan art features of the week.
We got Savvy featured this week, so we've already sworn way too much.
Yeah.
Remember last time last time we had her feature, she actually did a great little story for us, but she had to put up like, for my fans, you got to watch out for these guys' language.
Yeah. this week is also going to be fan shot breakdown. So we've got two shots for Matt to break down this week and for us to give our opinions on. So
I mean, at this point, at the rate I take toy pictures, I may have to relinquish this role to someone that actually takes toy pictures because I haven't done toy photography in 2 months now.
We may have to pull in
an actual like toy photographer.
Yeah. So first up this week for the top 5, we have new top 5 entry. This is at Rob with 3 B's, ROBBB _Chase, with a very clean Kylo Ren TFA portrait here. And what I really like about this is to me, he really captured Starkiller Base in this shot. Like the background that he chose, the snowflakes falling, this is obviously TFA Kylo that we're seeing in the shot. And then also he did a great job animating Kylo's blade here, the crossguard. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I mean, there's a reason I hardly shot Kylo when they were kind of the main Star Wars deal, and it's because of the lightsaber VFX. And I just don't give a fuck. Like I hate doing this type of stuff, but that is a mean looking Kylo blade. And Rob Chase, I believe, Nick, we actually have had him on before because he's an account that is like an expert level Funko photographer that looks to be dabbling in figures now. And clearly Rob's skill set has extended into the 112 scale figure line because if we just go pull up his account here, which I'll have on the live stream. And if you want to join the live stream, we typically do it on Tuesdays, anywhere between 2 and 3 p.m. East for at least 2 hours, usually closer to 3. But yeah, I'm up here now. I believe we featured his Vader shot that I'm looking at right now. But yeah, I mean, dude's pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what type of figure line, the pops. I mean, look at the Kylo pop shot. I know this is in the feature folder, but that's just another money looking crispy VFX correct Kylo shot from at Rob Chase.
Yeah, I know. It's such a great photography. I mean, even the most recent Mando shot with the pop and the dark.
That's just good stuff. I mean, good stuff. Rob clearly knows how to frame, how to add in, some interesting poses. But really, I think his or her whatever post-processing work is on point,
top notch for sure. So, Rob ROBBB _Chase in the top 5. Well done, sir. Next up, we have.
I love this one.
This is I love this crossover. So this is a Marvel Star Wars crossover from at 529 _ JAY.
Yeah, 529J, Nick, I know you're not like looking at this every day, but he excels at these kind of comedic mashups.
Yeah, I can see that now. He's clearly a big account, over 10,000 followers. But yeah, like he does seem to be another master of the mashup. So I'm a big fan of this one here in particular. So we see Tony Stark, not in the Iron Man suit, but what we see is Tony Stark forging the Mando Beskar helmet. In the background, you can see the Iron Man Mark I suit. And then in the foreground, right next to Tony, is Din wearing the Iron Man Mark I helmet with Baby Yoda right next to him on the table with his signature bowl of soup.
I mean, it's almost like Din showed up at Stark's garage to get some work done. Maybe get a dent pounded out of the helmet or something after he just ate Dark Trooper fist. And while Tony was working on the helmet, Din had a little fun and grabbed, the Mark I face mask and threw it on. He's almost like in a pose like, hey, what do you think? Like, how do I look? Stuff like that. And you got Grogu perfectly sitting there holding his little bowl, just taking it all in. It's just a really fun scene and obviously well executed. You got a little workman table there. You got the sledge. You got the Hall of Armor in the background. You see Cap's shield there. I mean, just great little nuanced stuff. There's even some Iron Man parts underneath the table if you're looking or not looking. I'm trying to describe it for those of you on the audio only shot. But yeah, great stuff by at 529 _ J. And like I said, just looking at the profile here on the live stream, just great photography in general, but fun mashups. The Boba on the Iron Throne, that's to be featured. I think the Deadpool I have to be featured in there. Just fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So at 529_J on Instagram.
I got this Jordan too, and I'd love to shoot it. I just don't know what to do. And here's 529. He's got a Jordan and Grogu, and it works.
Yeah, it does.
I just wouldn't even think of that.
Works really well. All right. Next up, we have this shot. It actually kind of like confused me for a second. This is from at Tegan Lee Draws, TEGANLEIGH Draws.
I mean, we've
Instagram.
had her featured before, and still to me, one of the most talented real ass painters because, dude, like you said, what the hell?
I was like scrolling through the feed and like I saw it, and I was like, oh, why did we just have a picture of like Ewan on an iPad on here? And then I like stopped and opened it, and I was like, holy shit! Like Tegan drew this. Yes. This isn't like a picture of Ewan. Like Tegan Lee Draws drew this on a with digital painting, Photoshop, whatever she uses, and it is a fucking pitch perfect, spot on, just portrait of Obi-Wan Kenobi from ROTS on this iPad. And I mean, like, down to like literally perfectly portraying light rays coming through like some sort of grate, like nailing hair to almost a perfect degree. Like everything crazy, about this image is nuts. Like this is next
this
level.
This is why, like when
we
talk about the real ass painters, it just I believe they're magicians. It's not. It can't be real. Like, how does this come out of someone's hands? How?
Yeah.
Explain it to me, damn it, Tegan. How? My goodness. Like how does Tegan Smith not have 15,000 followers? What's this 5,500 follower stuff? Get this girl a following. Like what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's insane that she doesn't have way more followers, especially given her focus. I mean, like she's right in this like geek space. This picture she drew of Chadwick Boseman is just like insane.
It's crazy.
Like, yeah, man. So
look, she got Tom Holland up as Drake.
Yeah,
John Wick.
Yeah.
I mean, they do. They look like pictures, but they're drawings.
Yeah, real. They look fucking.
Because I'm pretty sure we talked about her young Hamill action here.
I think we did.
Again, like she fucking drew that. That's not a picture of Mark Hamill. Please, Sean Forney, you're an artist. How does this happen? Like, what did you guys do? You guys and girls, do you like make a deal with the devil?
Yeah, sell your soul.
How does this
What's
work?
happening here?
How does it work? Like, I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you. And there are tiers of toy photographers and really photography in general. You know, there are your like artist level photographers, and then there's people like me. I still believe with some practice, honing your craft, people can do some pretty impressive looking art with a camera, even if they're not a traditional photographer, artist, so on and so forth. But this type of stuff, I think it has to be in your DNA first and foremost. And as Forney is giving us in the live stream, it's basically, it's all you do. It's just nonstop practice and hard work.
Yeah.
It just repetition.
Yeah, and you can see that Tegan has probably put in years upon years of practice here.
Well, her comment on the Kenobi one was, this drawing took a lot of patience, but I think it paid off, and it surely did. Yeah. And it's just unbelievable.
It fucking definitely did. I mean, that is about as perfect as you can get to a real human representation. And
I do like seeing right up here, followed by Klondike Studios, that an SWTSer is supporting Tegan. So
yeah, we can see we have a few SWTers on there. You got Klondike, Max Maldini, Homemade Galaxy, Drew Original. So I don't know if they found her through the show or through other means.
Of course
but I'm glad
they did, Nick. We are the gateway to all things awesome Star Wars art.
It's very true.
If anything, that's our claim to fame.
Right. It's the only way that they could have seen it. So, at Tegan Lee Draws on Instagram, just an absolutely incredible representation.
Someone hire her, give her a medal, a trophy. I don't know. Like I feel like this shot deserves way more than 635 likes.
Yeah, and like I know that our account too is not as kind to the digital artists.
Lego and real ass paint doesn't fly on the Star Wars Time Show.
Yeah, I mean, she only got 196 on the Star Wars Time Show account, which I understand. I mean, like our algorithm has basically worked itself into toy photography, but man, I mean, deserving of much more. As is the next one. This is from our friend at Savvy Art, SAVVYYART on Instagram, and she has a very beautiful representation in her stylized art form of Queen Padme Amidala from The Phantom Menace. So this is Padme in her full kind of Naboo queen garb. You get the full face paint. You get the headdress.
It's the first get up we see her in. You know, when she calls up to the Nemoidians that are screwing with her planet with their blockade. Yeah, it's like I want to see a cartoon using Savvy's style.
You
know what I mean? Like almost keeping it 2D too. Like, you know how she's 2D flat looking at us? Like I want that to be the cartoon. Like just her lips and stuff move. Like I am the
like
queen
almost
of
like motion comics style.
I mean, obviously we've featured Savvy multiple times here, and she does try to tag us when remembered, because I mean she's always busting out some good stuff. As always, we try to tour the account when we got the live stream up and going. Like her most recent thing, there she goes, getting a 9,000 liker here. She did kind of like a little, I'd almost call it a comic, but I guess you could somewhat say it was a meme. But she does it with young Ahsoka all the way through old Ahsoka, and it was, "I'm Ahsoka, Master Yoda sent me," essentially Ahsoka's first line in the movie, I believe. And then it goes to Din saying, "Ahsoka Tano," and he goes, "Bo-Katan sent me," and it's Ahsoka all looking at him like, "I'm gonna fuck you up."
I do like that.
But she did like we're looking at her, and I believe I still have the celebration portrait to share. But she did many versions of Amidala on her page here, and I mean, even look at the Princess Toadstool. I mean, come on.
You know what I would like to see Savvy do? I don't know if if she listens to the show regularly, maybe she'll listen if she's on it. I would really like her to see, because like you're basically seeing Padme in a lot of different garb throughout her time as queen. But I think it would be cool if she did a representation of Padme in her coffin, like when they're carrying her through.
Look at Nick's getting morbid here. I get you. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it was a very evocative kind of image, and I think that Savvy's style would be very interesting to show that.
We do this all the time. We pull up her account, but I just scroll through, and I'm just going like, God. Like if I was still Catholic, I'd be in hell by now. But just fantastic shit. Like I almost want action figures based on the way her style. You know what I mean? Because it is slightly stylized. I mean, she does some that I think are really on point for Disney animation. Some are a little more stylized, especially if you go back into her portfolio. Man,
yeah, she is a really incredible artist and has a very unique style that I think fits the Star Wars universe in a very cool way. So
Funko finds. Look, she might have been a Funkoer back in the day.
Yeah, maybe so. So good stuff there at Savvy Art, SAVVYYART.
I would actually, I'd almost say like some of you older fans, if you're listening, if you have little Star Wars fans, little girl Star Wars fans, at Savvy Art and at Tegan Lee Draws are great accounts to show those type of people. Like look at this shit. Look what these girls are doing with hard work, patience, practice, especially if they're into the arts already. Because this shit's it's inspiring. I mean, I'm an old guy. I got zero ability. I can't draw straight lines, but I get inspired looking at what humans like Savvy can create with their minds and their hands. Like our boy Super Scoundrel, just it doesn't compute with me. It just doesn't. I have no artistic talent in my DNA, and that's okay. My talent is talking about stupid shit for 3 hours a week that tens of people listen to. So I've found my niche in life, Nick.
There we go. All right. Next up, last one for the top 5 before we get into our shop breakdowns.
I did like this one.
at Photoy72. So at PHOTOY72. And this is just a really cool image. I thought of, it's not really anything directly Star Wars related other than a stormtrooper helmet that's kind of dressed up in this cool kind of, I don't know, I guess you would say like modern.
He's chilling. I mean, it's like you or me. Yeah. It's anybody. I mean, he's in a pair of jeans and a Jaws hoodie. And he's got his bucket head on. I mean, think about the days when Ezra was by himself on Lothal, when he just, wear a trooper helmet out there. It's kind of like a thing. And that's what I like about Photoy 72 shot here, is like it feels real world, like this is just a fan chilling, or it's a stormtrooper that doesn't fully like taking off his armor in between shifts. Yeah,
I also like the Back to the Future reference
Jaws
in the
19.
shot itself, Jaws 19. Yeah, like there's just a lot to like about this image. I don't know if it's it's not necessarily directly related to like, oh, this is a cool scene from Star Wars.
No, it's not at all.
Like,
it's chill as fuck. Yeah. It's probably a mashup more than anything. I mean, I'm sure this is just some random dude figure that he plopped a trooper helmet on. I'm guessing this is 1/6 scale due to the quality of the accessories. But I mean, it's just a chill shot. And you get those vibes from this trooper or just a human who loves the Empire. I mean, maybe this is a 501st member on the weekend. They're not in their full gear, but the shot, I don't know. It's just, it was very pleasing to me.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the best way. Yeah. That's kind of the best way to put it, is very pleasing shot. So, so at Photoy72 on IG, give him a follow. Paul Massey is the name.
Oh, Paul Massey. I just saw he just subbed to the channel. So attaboy, Paul.
Oh, there
way to do the right thing.
Thank you for the support. And that's the end of the top 5. So we're going to move on into our fan shot breakdowns for this week. And our first one is from Joe Jong Man.
Excuse me. I need a mute button for that shit.
Took me a while to get through that one. Joe Jong Man. I was like, Joe That is me losing my ability to read 2.5 hours of the show.
Well, for shot breakdown, this kind of goes back to what we've had to say on a lot of these is,
these are good shots. You guys just want
don't turn in good shots for a shot breakdown. But if we have to, what we're looking at here from Joe Jongman, it's 2 mountain troopers. So the first order mountain troopers, I believe you can get them at Target these days or some shit like that. It just kind of looks like they're at their post, they're on watch, and they're just kind of passing the downtime. One dude, he's like sitting there looking at his gun. The other guy also looks like he may be cleaning his gun. And we're supposed to break this down as if there are some issues to it, and I'm trying. I guess the if you're watching on the live stream, but there's one mountain trooper, he's kind of like sitting on a log. The other one is sitting down with his back resting on it. I guess you could argue the dude sitting on the log, like the pose is somewhat off.
I was gonna say, what is there something on his knee?
That's his
like on.
Yeah. What is that?
It's hard to read that. I can't
you're right.
Really tell
it's not on his
is.
like you can see it bent, but it's almost like there's a lampshade sitting on top of his knee. So there you go. Nick found something a little off on this.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what it is, but
you're right.
Now literally after kind of staring at the image, I was like, oh, it's something.
You're right. Now that you pointed it out, my eye only goes to that now. So I guess you could say that is a slight issue. But when I didn't see that, I still saw a pretty good looking shot. I mean, there's some practical atmosphere in here. It looks like with some, I'm guessing, spray bottle rain. I guess if you really want to get pissy, you could argue that the subjects aren't technically quite lined up in the rule of 3. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, good for you, Joe Jongman. I think it's a good shot. It's a hard one to really even try to muster up some bullshit critiques. I don't see it.
Yeah. It's a very good shot. Aside from that whatever it is by his knee. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be like a droid or a canteen or something like that. But I just,
it does take the focus off of the main subjects. You are right.
Yeah, it's just hard to read what it is. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, it's a very clean shot. I like the atmosphere. I like the setting for the figures. I like the weathering on the figures and the poses in general.
I always know, like, I always feel like a toy photography shot is a good shot if I look at it and it feels like a living scene, and this one does. I mean, I totally see these two mountain troopers passing time by cleaning and looking at their guns. I mean, just that's what this is to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So
there you go.
I mean, overall, just a really clean shot by Joe Jongman.
So there's just well like a bonus a bonus praise breakdown.
Yeah. So next up, we got Galactic Photo Guy here, and he sent through this shot of I assume it's an Imperial ATST. And so, Matt, hit us with your thoughts.
So this one, there's a little bit more to discuss, I guess. I mean, I still wouldn't call it a complete throwaway type of shot. But the atmosphere almost overpowers the subject a bit. I know what Galactic Photo Guy was probably going for, but it's like I'm almost more drawn to the lighter white haze on the right than the actual lit up eyes of the chicken walker.
Yeah,
and the chicken walker also looks like it's tumbling or it's not stood up straight, so you could argue the posing is off. Is it like falling? Is it walking? I don't know.
Yeah, my main thing was going to be what you called out first, was that it's almost distracting, the amount of atmosphere that's pumped into it.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
And I could get it if there was like a background that was associated, but because it's only on a black background, and like you said, you have this really bright white over to the right of the shot, that's where your focus goes first, because it's the most lit thing on the scene. And then I think maybe if you had it, like you were mentioning with the positioning and the posing, if you had it turned to where the ATST was like looking at the camera, and you got the full frame of its face, and then I think that the red of the eyes would then be more, you would be more drawn to that. But because it's like tilted off to the side and the red eyes are kind of lost in the fog diffusion, you really don't, it doesn't pop as much as you think. You can't really
decipher what's going on with the AT-ST. Like I said, I mean, is it falling back? Because I have one of these, and the way that one, the leg in the foreground, I mean, it looks like it's tumbling over. I mean, which it very well might be. Like, maybe that was the intention of the pose, but it's just hard to tell, right?
Because of the way that the scene is set up and the amount of atmosphere. Yeah,
just maybe if it was practical, maybe one less press on the aerosol, something like that, or if you got more of you see how there's some light rays starting to try to take place, like from the atmosphere. Like if you had real strong rays coming across this, I think it would make it a completely different shot. But now on the right side, at least what we're looking at, it does just kind of get lost in the white of the atmosphere, and it gets real dark on the left, and you kind of lose part of the subject. So there you go. Yeah.
So I think with a few little tweaks, that this could be a much more standout shot. Like it would put like the figure itself would pop more with just a little. Couple changes. So
I don't even know if Galactic Photo Guy tags us anymore, since we started the call for breakdowns months ago.
Yeah, and I mean we have a ton. Like literally, it's hard for us to ask for more because we only do this probably every 2 weeks now, and we have so many to cover.
Right.
That I mean we haven't uploaded more shots to break down since October 6th, but I think we have like 50. Like we have a lot. I mean. Yeah, I mean there's a ton to go through. So once we finish out with this round, we'll do another call for shots to break down, and then we'll kind of get back into it. But yeah, I mean hopefully Galactic Photo guys listening and you know, can either give us some comments on what he was thinking, like what his, you know, his thought process was behind the shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's far from a turd. It's not quite clear what the shot's trying to convey, is what I would say.
Yeah, true. I agree there. So that's the end of the shot breakdowns for this week, and that'll bring us to the end of the show, which brings us to the beginning of the dance.
All right.
So Matt, why don't you take
Holy
us
hell!
into it?
And we finished before the 3-hour mark. I mean, that is something special. I don't think that's happened in 2 months or so. We started doing 3-hour plus shows when the Mando was in the fold, because we committed to, we're not doing multiple shows. We're going to do a mega show, and they sure did get mega. But now we're kind of falling back into what we used to do, the 2 to 3 hour, which is fine. Would you guys still love us if we did 36 minutes like KRT? Mm-hmm. Pretty please. All right, but like Nick said, it's time to put 144 to bed. That's right. You've been with us now for 144 episodes, ever since we made that fateful decision to jump ship from the EB Podcast Network and come over and brand ourselves as the Star Wars Time Show. That's right. There's always time for Star Wars Time. And the best place to get information on the SWTS is to go to starwarstime.net. When it works. I guess they did some huge cPanel migration, Nick. When I used to actually care about being the server admin, I probably would have paid attention, but they migrated us from cPanel to Site Tools, and hopefully nothing blew up. I haven't really checked anything. We had some plugins get updated today, and they kept airing out, so it's like, fuck it. I've gotten to the point in my IT life, at least the website creation life, where I'm literally like, I don't care. Like, if the site goes down, we'll figure it out. Last week, we didn't tell anyone, but right before we went live, the site literally was dead. Like, dead as fuck. Like, 502 bad gateway Nginx dead. Dead. But it's up right now, and the reason we're talking about it, starwarstime.net, that is kind of our home. That's where we will be putting out any of the content that we want to talk about on the weekly live stream, which, again, you can get details about on starwarstime.net. Just scroll down there in the sidebar. You will see Star Wars Time on YouTube. See, that's us. There's me. There's Nick. There's the subscribe button. That is the important part of that image. So click on it. Sub up. You've got to sub up. Let's go. I think we're getting around 700 on YouTube. I'm still not even going to feel like a full man until we're at 1,000. And even then, I'll only be a man with one testicle. When we get to 10,000, my second ball will drop. So let's keep it up. Come on. I know it's hard to get YouTube subs when I'm not doing the Mandos every week, but keep telling friends. I see it every week. It's way slower than I like. Our fan base grows at a glacial pace, but the key word is it grows. We see new people in the stream every week. We see new people using the tag on Instagram. And by the way, if you want to be ever featured in the now iconic, if not infamous, Star Wars Time Show Top 5 Fan Artist Features, make sure you're following us on Instagram, tag at Star Wars Time Show, and use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Because in the end, there's always time for Star Wars Time. That's why we do this shit. There's always time. There's always time to be angry about Star Wars. But on the Star Wars Time Show, we know there's always time to just sit around, powwow with some friends, and talk about the Star Wars. And besides, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, and I'm talking to you and you and you and you, the Force will be with you. Always.